It's March 25th, 2025. I am at Joel Pearl or thejoelpearl.com on Blue Sky. It's time to get in the weeds. It's a I don't have an alliterated word for Tuesday.
It's Tuesday.
It's a titular Tuesday. Tabular. I'm off my game like I am when I'm not doing these shows. I don't have a T. I got M's, W's, and F's. I don't have T's. SP3
because you don't do any of the T days. You don't do Tuesday. You don't do Thursday, so you're not prepared.
It's tinnitus Tuesdays. My ear hurts. I can't hear it. It's just ringing in my ears.
He swerves Strickland. He's got a broken eardrum. It is titular Tuesday. We are here, a Titanic Tuesday, because Joel Pearl is here, and we're very happy. No, it means it's a bigger episode because Joel Pearl is here. It is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3. You know the deal. It's Tuesday once again. I'm on the Fightful Overbooked, and we're going to talk some Monday Night Raw. Yesterday, it was from Glasgow, Scotland, and a lot went down. John Cena is promising to ruin wrestling with number 17 and talking about toy championships. Cody Rhodes is here to fight and save professional wrestling. You got everything going on with the women's three-way. We got Rhea Ripley and Io Sky going to have a rematch on next week's Monday Night Raw from London, England. CM Punk is calling out Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns for taking things personal because they are in a champion. No, they're not. They're in a three-way over a personal rivalry. So I think all three of them are taking it personal. But that's besides the point. The Intercontinental Championship is taking shape. Fightful Select had a great report about the big match, and we saw the setup for that on last night's episode. We found out also from Fightful Select Q&A, the best $6 in the month, because you get a lot of information. The real reason why Charlotte Flair eviscerated Tiffany Stratton on SmackDown. Well, I guess we'll talk about that as well. And Joel Pearl is here, so we're going to have a lot of shenanigans, a lot of laughs, and a lot of things to discuss. I'm happy to be here with you, Joel. How you feeling?
It's going to be a lot of repetitive takes if that's what we're talking about. Jesus Christ. No, I'm just kidding. It's good to be here. Jeremy might pop in a little bit. He's just dealing with some family stuff, so he's doing his thing. Everything's cool, and we might see him a little bit later. So I'm filling in on a Tuesday instead of doing literally everything else I needed to do today. I hope he knows. I hope he's watching, and I hope he feels awful for making me work on my day off.
Oh man. I hurried because we missed our bus because my daughter Harlem, she had to get chocolate ice cream with a chocolate waffle cone. She didn't want to finish the ice cream before we got on the bus, so I literally had to smack the cone out of her hand and try to run for the bus, and the bus left 1 minute early. So that's why we're starting a little bit later because I had to catch the other bus, which is an hour later because UK bus times are awful. I'm used to New York bus times where buses come every 10 to 15 minutes, but in the UK they come every hour on the hour, which is ridiculous. But yeah, I'm here.
I mean, I assume if you're in like London, if you're deep in the city, stuff's got to be a little more, on time, right?
That's true. Yeah, I'm more in the sticks. I'm more in the countryside. So yeah, it's less frequent when it comes to that. Probably, yeah, in London, the buses are probably a little bit more frequent than they are here. Hopefully the trains are working on Friday because I'm gonna be at Friday Night SmackDown at the O2. My first time going to the O2, Joel. I'm gonna be in the O2 for Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk signing a contract.
You're going to need some O2 because you got to sit there for all of 4 hours wondering what you're going to do with your time.
Oh my God. Yeah, like that. Yo, watching last week's Friday Night SmackDown, I'm like, oh my God, this feels long, and I'm watching it at home. Now I'm gonna be there.
Are you going with people? Like, are you going on your own or are you going with people?
I'm going with Alex McCarthy, the good brother. He's taking me along. I applied to go under Sports Illustrated, but I haven't heard back from WWE, so I'm just going ahead with Alex McCarthy. I also applied for the Monday Night Raw in London, England for next week, but I don't know if they accept my black ass. So we'll see.
I don't know if you knew about this, but If you've been living under a rock, WWE's on fire right now. And in about 26 days, it's going to be even more fire when they go to Las Vegas for WrestleMania. They're going to put me in the Hall of Fame, and everyone's going to be cheering my name. Triple H. They got to show more video packages with his face. It's great.
They have hyped the Hall of Fame better than WrestleMania. Oh my god! And then I saw a ridiculous take from Twitter users being like, "Oh, the Rock Triple H SummerSlam ladder match hasn't been. It only started getting praised 3 years ago." I was like, "Were you around in 1998? This was
Probably
like
not.
There was people that would say I was 10 years old at the time. There was people that was telling me that ladder match was better than Michaels and Razor's both ladder matches at the time. This is not recent. This is not recency. It's recently started getting praised. That's the match that people call the breakout for both men, both two legends careers.
I said it on multiple shows, and this is also something that I attribute to Brandon Thurston. Back when Brandon Thurston was more feisty. Not that he isn't now, but he's a different feisty. Back in the day, he basically narrowed it down to, if they have a profile photo that is not of their own face, they are either under the age of 16 or over the age of 65. And at that point, they don't know shit, and you're not going to change their mind on it. So do not engage. Do not talk to them. Do not reply. Leave it alone. And that's what I do. So when I see that shit and it's like Roman Reigns' avatar being like, "Oh, this match wasn't so big," you were probably born in 1999 at best. So what are we doing?
Well, me and the good brother Cam, we both quote tweeted that post. I see Cam's in the chat. We both quote tweeted that post because we were like, "No, we're not going to hear that nonsense. We are old men that know that we're around, that we're young men when that happened, and we've been part of the people that have been praising it for the last 30 years. So don't tell us that it just recently 2022 was when it first started getting praised. What?"
These people listen to some of the old heads, not the ones that people dunk on all the time. Listen to some of the old heads out there who have something to say. I put over Wade Keller frequently because at least Wade is keeping up with the product and has a backlog of historical knowledge that he can pull from. Do I agree with everything he says? No. Do I agree with some of his original source reporting and the history that he brings to it when he talks about the current product? Yes, because he's not weird and tribalistic or saying shit just to again, there are so many better voices than the ones that people want to go and be like, "Oh, this idiot's business passing by." Yeah, those people exist. Those people are grifting, or those people aren't good enough for you, whatever. That's fine. Find the people who are worth listening to. Those people are the ones who have that encyclopedic knowledge of the past that you need to understand where wrestling has gone and where it could be and how it could be better. We're not just talking to talk. A lot of us are coming from an informed point of view when we do this shit. At least we try to.
Yeah. And Wade Keller is one of the people that has earned the moniker of a historian. Dave Meltzer is another one who has earned the moniker of a historian. I was given that moniker by one of the legendary greats, Dutch Mantel. Dutch Mantel told me that I'm a historian, so I take that. I take that with pride. A Dutch Mantel affiliated historian, especially being a black man that was certified by Zeb Coulter. I mean, I have to wear that badge with honor.
By the way, for Pile Driver Finisher, I'm going to beat up David LaGreca and the Busted Open crew. But before I do that, I need you guys to leave a thumbs up on the video. If you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Leave a thumbs up. That gets us going. That gets us happy. That gets us moving. And of course, you subscribe to us here on the channel. That gets us happy. That makes us smile. And if you want to make us do a little dance, I don't know if we'll do a dance, but we'll be happy here. You can go ahead, drop a super chat. Any amount, get your question or statement read on the air, and it guides the conversation. And of course, because I said I'm going to do it, I don't know if you know this, SP3, but Busted Open are going to be in Las Vegas for WrestleMania. They're going to be doing some live shows. They're going to be at Circa, which is a resort hotel. They've got a giant stadium. They call it the stadium arena. They got pools and giant big screen TVs. They're doing WrestleMania watch parties. Chris Van Vliet's going to be there. Why am I shilling? Because I am going to Circa Mania. I'll put myself over here. I'm going to Circa Mania. I'm going to beat up Busted Open. I'm going to beat all of their asses. I'm going to go to Circa Mania. I'm going to beat them. And then you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to the Wrestling Wind Down Hangout on the Friday afternoon, which is also happening at Circa. And I'm going to enjoy a lovely beverage with those lovely ladies because they are fantastic. And that's going to be my victory lap after I beat up the Busted Open crew at Circa Mania. I'm going to do it.
I'm rooting for Joel. Love Dave LaGreca. He's an OG of the wrestling podcast world. I got respect for what Tommy Dreamer did in ECW. I even got respect for their other co-hosts who block me on Twitter. I just don't want to hear about his wrestling opinions.
What's your problem with Thunder Rosa? No,
I love Thunder Rosa.
I was gonna say
I've sponsored. I sponsored her Mission Pro Wrestling before. Thunder Rosa been on True Hill Heat twice, I think 2 or 3 times, and she's been in the comment section, and her husband been in the comment section. So Thunder Rosa is cool in my book. It's the other guy that'd be with LaGreca who kind of comes off insecure. But he won't fight me. He'll only block me because he's only used to pushing black people and telling them to get tables.
No comments. I'm not even talking about beating him up. I'm gonna beat up Mark Henry. We've already decided. I'm gonna go after Mark Henry. Love Mark.
Mark Henry's cool in my book. He was at that UK disco night for What Culture and said, to quote the immortal words of the Iron Sheik, "Fuck Hulk Hogan."
I love that about him. Can't say a bad thing about that, but I can't say a bad thing about him being on Busted Open. I'm gonna beat his ass. Maybe I'll just take a spot. Or maybe he'll take my spot on it in the weeds. Who am I kidding?
There you go.
I think I've decided I'm going to wear a green bathrobe. You know, that last year they did the Cody bathrobes, the pink ones. I think I'm going to get a green one for in the weeds.
That works.
That's going to be it.
Do they have green? I've never seen a green bathrobe before.
I mean, I'm sure I can find one if I went. Let's go to the old Amazon right now, shall we? We're gonna do this. A green bathrobe. I'm sure they exist. It'd be silly if they did. Yeah, there you go. Plenty of them. Starting at 27 Canadian dollars. Get it faster for $11. I think that's to pay for more shipping. Yeah, let's get it for $30 or less. I could do this.
What is 27 Canadian dollars in American dollars?
2.
Really? If that was a currency exchange, I'm going to Canada.
No. Oh, nice. Men's hooded fleece robe, $10.95. Unfortunately, the delivery right now is they want $22 delivery because it's not a Prime deal, and it comes between April 15th and the 7th, and I take off on the 15th, so probably not happening. Good. And it comes with a hood. God damn it!
That would have been sweet, man. You would have been looking like a real. If you just pulled up with the green fleece hoodie. You could have went to Circa Mania with that. You could have went to Wale Mania with that.
I don't think they let me into Wally Mania with a bathrobe. Although, maybe I should ask a few people about that if I could. I'm going to get a bunch of texts right now being like, no! Or pull up. Anyway, Cyclops.
Pull up. Yup, you're going to get them pull up.
Oh, bless these pals. Cyclops better than Wolverine saying, I don't like your chances against Mark Henry. I get it, man. I do. Allegedly the world's strongest man. Also, allegedly, could beat his ass. Everybody can have a bad day. Everybody can have one bad day. And everybody could always, bring a baseball bat to a fight.
That is true. Or a crowbar. You can be like John Moxley, just like the Sticky Bandits, a black knit hat and all black attire, and hit him with a crowbar in the knee.
Also, it's WrestleMania week. I'm sure there's crowbar wrestling somewhere. I can ask him to come and join me. WCW superstar crowbar.
Indeed. Legendary.
Yeah, Tommy's saying take out his knees and you win. That's a pretty easy deal to do. His knees and then go after his hips and his kidneys. Bam. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with his kidneys, but the hips are there, so I may as well go for the kidneys at the same time since I'm right there. I got it. See? Look at us devising a plan. Hopefully law enforcement does not go after and find this footage so that they can use it against me in a court of law.
This is like a organized assault. Like this is a premeditated assault.
Oh, Alexa Bliss Gamer saying Mark Henry bent a frying pan. I'm afraid of what he'd do to your hands. You know what? He can get these hands because that frying pan, it was fake. It wasn't fake, but I'm going to say it was fake just because we live in a world where fake news is a thing, and I'm going to say everything's fake.
Indeed.
The wrestling is fake, and so are these takes.
Hit him with it.
Yes.
I got told I was lying on my take this week.
How can you lie on something that is of your opinion?
That's what I was like, okay, because me and when we had Cam on True Heat, we had a discussion of how wrestling discourse is really bad, and I think Cam explained it the best. That in school we were all separated. There was people that were in high school, people in middle school, people who were in special needs and everything like that, and then social media, they just put us all together. And I think that's the issue, that we're not working with the same kind of the same requirements that everybody else has, and we're just all put into one. So when someone told me you lied on your take, I was like, this is what wrestling discourse is at. It's at an all-time low. It's at an all-time low because they told me you lied on your take because I don't agree with you. Because my take is different. Because my opinion is different. Because I think Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton segment was good. I think it was bad, but you think it was good, so I'm lying.
Well, that was Emmy worthy. So clearly you're wrong. you're wrong, SP3. You're wrong.
Apparently I'm wrong.
People, I'd say open the schools, but now they're all closed, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, where are we going to start? Normally, I wait about 45 minutes till we get to the thumbnail topic, because that's when people really climb into this window of craziness and we get into it. Do you want to talk about the Charlotte stuff, since you kind of started mentioning it, and I know that was from Friday, and it's giving you a chance to catch up on it and stuff that Jeremy and I kind of started talking about. For those who missed it, Charlotte Flair basically walked all over Tiffany Stratton in a promo on Friday Night SmackDown. I'm curious about your thoughts, because I clearly know that you weren't a fan, but let's talk about it. What was your overall reaction to Charlotte basically saying, you won't have a job after you're done, I will?
First, like the first couple of minute and a half of it, I think I was already kind of toned out of it, because I was like, they're just talking over each other. And sometimes that can work to bring some realism to it, but I feel like Charlotte Flair has one tone for her promo style, and if it just stays even keel like that, I don't think it doesn't come off like natural and like the realistic that talking over should make you feel like, oh, this is a realistic argument between two people. So I was kind of toned off of that. And then just her burying Tiffany Stratton, okay, that's great for Charlotte Flair, but it does nothing for Tiffany Stratton. It does nothing for the match. It does nothing for the build to the match, which has not been good to this point. So it's not an effective segment. It's not a good segment. I didn't even feel like it was a watchable segment. If I wanted to see someone bury someone, I just talk about Bully Ray on this show. Like, what do I want to do? What do I want to? I don't want to watch my wrestling. And basically by Charlotte burying Tiffany, the result is null and void, basically. Because when she beats Tiffany, she beat a nobody who was only champion because she cashed in Money in the Bank and because she felt sorry for them. And if Tiffany beats her, it's a fluke because she's not up to par on where Charlotte Flair is at. So you basically have killed the results of the matchup. It's very similar. I was very critical of the John, and I'll give it up to Romeo from True Heat. He made the comparison of the John Cena Austin Theory promo from 2 years ago ahead of WrestleMania 39, which I feel like that first promo in Boston completely nuked anything that would have been entertaining to get out of that program, because Cena basically said, if you win, you're still gonna lose. If you lose, you're a real big loser because I proved you wrong. But if you win, you prove nothing because you're still not gonna be able to prove yourself to these fans. And that's basically what Charlotte did. She's basically nuked the result. Any result that we get at WrestleMania, it does not matter because Tiffany Stratton is obviously not on the same level of Charlotte Flair, and therefore if Tiffany beats her, does not matter. If Charlotte beats her, it does not matter. So I'm totally out of this build. Like, I'm totally like, all right, throw my hands up, let's just get to the matchup. Hopefully the matchup delivers, because that's the only thing that we can get. If they have a good matchup, we'll be like, oh, okay, at least when the bell rang, it was good. But I would say Charlotte Flair has not had a good build to a WrestleMania match since Ronda and Becky in the main event of WrestleMania.
Yeah,
The Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania 39, fantastic match. It's one of the top 5 best women's matches of all time in WWE. The build to that match sucked. It was really bad, and they relied on tropes. They did not tell a proper story that followed up from their WrestleMania 36 matchup. The build to the WrestleMania 36 matchup wasn't that good, and you can blame it mostly on COVID, but it didn't really make sense for Charlotte Flair to win the Royal Rumble and then go after the 3rd best women's champion in the company, and someone that everybody was like, well, you're clearly ahead of her. So that didn't make too much sense. That wasn't good. She wasn't there for WrestleMania 37. WrestleMania 38 was her and Ronda. We all didn't like that, so we can move on from that, scrap that to the side. And WrestleMania 35, that wasn't even a good build. That was not a good build. She was force-feed and shoehorned into the whole thing, even though I knew from like WrestleMania 34, I knew the plan was Ronda and Charlotte were going to be in the WrestleMania 35 main event. They were going to be the first ever women's main event, but Becky Lynch was the thing that WWE didn't expect, for her to rise to the top and get into a position where she felt like she needed to be in the main event more than the other two. But at least you had that final angle that kind of saved it for a lot of people, that got them hyped for the WrestleMania main event. So that's the only good thing that's been in any of Charlotte's builds to WrestleMania over the last 5.5 years. This is an all-time bad WrestleMania build. Somehow, this is worse than Jey and Gunther, which I feel like they have marginalized the World Heavyweight Championship, Gunther, and Jey Uso's Royal Rumble win. But somehow, Tiffany and Charlotte is worse than that.
So a lot of what you're saying is factual in terms of the layout of the timelines of Charlotte's past WrestleMania builds and the way that she looked, going into 35 being the best one. And even then, it wasn't that good, because once they did and I talked about this yesterday, once we had we need Charlotte Flair, once that came in, everyone was like, oh, no, fix this right now. And the only way that they really fixed it was the pull apart brawl with the cops and the beatdown and being put in the cop cars and kicking the cop car, or kicking people through the cop cars. The way that that all played out was fantastic. People remember that. They loved it. Then they tried to recreate it and it wasn't as good. Now, the problem with that is you can't do that again this year, because in Charlotte's case, especially, every feud has already done a pull apart brawl at this point, and multiple in most cases. Yeah. So you can't get it hot like that. Here's a reality, though. We're used to WrestleMania being next week on the calendar. We still have 4 more episodes of SmackDown. Do I think they can pull up? I mean, pull up the nosedive pull up. Yeah, they probably could, but it's going to take a very strong 4 weeks in a row of storytelling to make Tiffany Stratton feel like an opponent to Charlotte Flair and not look like the person who's just going to lose to Charlotte at WrestleMania, where Charlotte gets her next championship and then moves on to the next person, who presumably is going to end up being, at this point, Becky is the only person that really makes sense in terms of matching her on that level. Maybe you do Bayley on the way, but regardless, Charlotte continues, and Jeremy made reference to this too. And I'm paraphrasing, but she is so in her character and so knowing of what her character is that you almost can't waver from, you can't beat her at that game. She knows who she is. She is so confident at what her character is that she cannot be shaken. Whereas Tiffany Stratton, she knows who her character was when she was the bratty heel that nobody liked. Now that she's turned into a babyface, she's still trying to figure out what kind of babyface am I supposed to be? People like me, but why do they like me? Do they like me because I was bullied by Nia Jax and I got out of that by taking her title, and then I beat her in a tag match, and Trish Stratus was my friend, and so we did that, even though Trish and I last time we were on camera were gonna fight, but then we made up and became training partners. And the way they've been building Tiffany as a character, as a babyface, has not been strong. So as a result, someone who is as strong a character as Charlotte going up against someone who is a weak character right now in Tiffany Stratton, it just plays to Charlotte dog walking her at WrestleMania and taking the title and walking away. Now, something that I talked about yesterday was the idea that if WWE wants to play it this way, I would see the vision, which is every time they've done something where Charlotte made Tiffany look bad, Tiffany eventually gets her lick back and looks good doing it. I know you mentioned in the chat yesterday that the pull apart brawl had to be done twice, blah, blah, blah. I think honestly, doing it twice made sense in terms of just making it look like you couldn't keep them apart. So visually, it worked. This week, or this past Friday, having them sit down and have Charlotte completely decimate her on the microphone means that the next time they're on the microphone together, Tiffany needs to get that one line or that one statement out against Charlotte that makes her stand with her, not next to her or not opposed her. She needs to be above as the champion, make her look good. They didn't do that this week, but also it's an ebb and flow. If she does that, then I'm of a belief that Charlotte will win at WrestleMania and they'll just replay the Becky Bianca story where people were upset that Becky came in, beat Bianca quickly at SummerSlam 2021. And then eventually we got to WrestleMania that year where you had Becky and Bianca renew and Bianca got the win. And we do that again where Tiffany gets the win after Crisis of Conscience and how do I work, blah, blah, blah. Charlotte's the baddie all the way around until she faces Tiffany again. Tiffany learns, Tiffany wins. You've built hopefully a stronger character. If that's where they're going, I see it. But where they were on Friday wasn't good. But again, 4 weeks until Mania means you've got a fair amount of time to figure it out, whatever that is.
Yeah, I just haven't felt it since, and this rivalry has basically started since the beginning of February. So we're like 6 weeks into this whole thing, and it's just like it's not connecting, it's not working. And then it adds into the part that reason why I wanted to bring this up is it was Sean Ross Sapp on the Fightful Q&A. He was asked about did they put basically Tiffany in this situation, or what was the backstage reaction to Charlotte eviscerating Tiffany Stratton, and basically he said some within WWE reportedly believe Stratton was put in a quote unquote sink or swim situation with the segment. And this was what Sean said on the Q&A. Definitely there were some people that were like, oh, Charlotte definitely handled business on that one. Then there were some others that felt like Tiffany was put in a sink or swim situation, and they didn't say that she sank. It's just that Charlotte is a better swimmer. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't believe she, talking about Charlotte, went off script or anything like that, but it does seem like she knew everything that Tiffany was going to say and had something for that. I don't know the level of improvisation there, but there were a lot of people that said, yeah, man, Charlotte looked really good in that segment and Tiffany didn't, but I feel like that should be by design. If that is by design, you don't know what you're doing then. I'm sorry, like why would you put the person that, this is the whole thing, this might have been my whole issue with the Jey Uso and Gunther rivalry, as well as Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair rivalry. You should be making these people, Tiffany Stratton and Jey Uso, you should be making them feel like a WrestleMania main eventer against someone who has already established himself as a world champion or as a WrestleMania main eventer. But he has done the exact opposite. He's doing Crisis of Confidence with Jey Uso and making his slip-ups a part of the story. With Tiffany Stratton, he's putting her in a sink or swim position where Charlotte Flair, of course, is a better swimmer because she's been doing this for 11 and a half years, at least on the main roster for that part. Like, Jesus Christ, it's like the simplest things to make it a good build to WrestleMania is to make these people feel like they are on the same ground as the person that they are trying to live up to or trying to face in a WrestleMania main event. These are your two winners of the Royal Rumble, and you have totally shit the bed 6.5, 7 weeks in on these feuds.
Well, Charlotte won the Royal Rumble. She's, she is Charlotte. She's fine.
I know she's fine. But I wouldn't even say people were all like, oh my gosh, Charlotte was great in this segment. I don't really think you're that great. I think that Becky Lynch was much better against Tiffany Stratton because she pulled her up to her level. She made Tiffany Stratton feel like she was a superstar. That was Tiffany Stratton's tryout to go to the main roster, and she passed it with flying colors because Becky Lynch gave a little to her, but Becky Lynch didn't lose any of the promo battles, but she just made sure that Tiffany Stratton looked like a threat to her. That even though she won basically all the matches in the feud, yet Tiffany looked strong in defeat. Like, there's a way to win these promo battles, but still make Tiffany look good in the process by saying that she's only champion because she cashed in, and I only chose you because I felt sorry for you. You're totally saying I'm facing a bum at WrestleMania. Go watch the match.
A couple of things. First one, Senior Nerd saying putting a young talent in a sink or swim situation is a lot like a Vince move. It's not. That's the thing, though. It's really not. That is a common sports thing to do. If your big star leaves and you're stuck, you will take not necessarily a rookie, but you'll take a middle star and you'll say, now's your chance. Take it. Everyone's going for QB1. Now's your chance. It's sink or swim. And if you provide, if you swim, then you will have that spot. If you sink, well, you're either going to go backwards or you're going to stay where you are. That's unfortunately, or however you look at it, in athletics, that is what it is. It is a very competitive field, and wrestling is no different in that now you're doing athletics, but you're also doing like star of the show, an entertainment, facility or an entertainment program. You're trying to be the lead role of the show or the lead of your division. It is sink or swim, because sometimes if you take a chance on an actor, you don't know if that's going to work. You don't know if that position is going to work for them until you try it. So it's not a Vinceism to just do sink or swim. That's a pretty common entertainment and athletics thing to do. We just happen to see it a lot more because we talk about wrestling. That's the first one. The second thing is, one of the interesting points of this build has been that Charlotte's been emotionless. She has been she's been a brick wall. Nothing has phased her. And that's why I'm like, with 4 weeks left, you got to do something. That is something you need to do. You need to find a way to rattle her, or at least have her show emotion that's more than I'm here to reclaim my championship and you are in my way. And she is saying that with like full Robo Charlotte on and no form of acting, no emotion, no nothing. Like, the problem with believing you're going to do it shouldn't be we believe you're going to do it because it's what you've done before. It should be you're coming into this story because you believe that you should be champion and you believe that you should be. There's no conviction. It's just, I'm Charlotte Flair. I'm Charbot. This is what I do. And people are saying, all right, you're Charbot. This is what you do. We're not going to like it, or maybe we will if you're a big Charlotte fan. But there's no emotion, and as a result, there's no feeling. And if there's no feeling, then there's no connection. And if there's no connection, then there's no build that people are getting behind. That's why, again, 4 weeks, you got to show some emotion in the way you do this beyond a pull apart brawl. You need that moment.
It's very much late 2000s, early 2010 John Cena, where Cena really was like, you can never break through. You can never make Cena react. You can never make Cena, show really emotions. Like when they did the whole story of Cena having, falling down to rock bottom after he lost to The Rock in Once in a Lifetime. But yet he's in the main event of every pay-per-view after that. It's like what you're trying to sell me, what you're saying the story is, I'm watching it and it's not the story. He has not gone down to rock bottom. He's still in the main event. He's still there. He's not really showing any effect from this loss to The Rock. Like, what are you talking about? Or like, yeah, it's just like, I'm disconnected to it because I'm not getting any emotion from either one of them. And for Tiffany Stratton, I understand why, because I even said it in the chat yesterday. I was like, WWE heard the reaction for Tiffany Stratton at Elimination Chamber and her early appearances on the main roster, and then they set up a story that basically was going to make her a babyface, with her being aligned with Nia Jax, having the Money in the Bank, while Nia is the WWE Women's Champion. Nia becoming more and more domineering and making Tiffany into a sympathetic character. But then when they pulled the trigger on the cash-in, they never took the next step of actually making Tiffany Stratton a babyface character. They made her a sympathetic figure, but they never made her a babyface character. How do you take someone who started off in NXT 2.0, and I've been a fan of her since the 2.0 days because I felt like the daddy's rich girl, kind of character, it worked for her. It worked for her. It was entertaining. It stood out from the rest of the cookie cutter Nickelodeon style characters that we had in 2.0. And I liked the way she was delivering her promos, but they've never kind of taken her from that of this annoying kind of rich girl or elite athlete type to make her an actual babyface character. With Nia and her, when she had the rematch against Nia, she won by DQ because Candice LeRae interfered. Then Trish Stratus made the save for her, and they both got beat down. And they did that same angle for 2 weeks in a row. It wasn't until we actually were the day before Elimination Chamber that Tiffany and Trish actually got the one up on Nia and Candice, and then they won in the tag team matchup. But there was never actual steps made to make her a babyface character before she faced Charlotte Flair, because people tend to forget they wanted Charlotte to be the babyface. Don't get it twisted. Don't try to forget that. Don't try to forget that promo that Charlotte did on the Raw after Royal Rumble was legitimately her trying to do a babyface promo, and it just won't work. It just won't work because these fans are not going to accept that Charlotte Flair is likable. She's not likable. She gets force-fed into the title scene. She has not had an actual long-term story that did not involve a title in maybe the decade that she's been on the main roster. Like, it's really that long. Like, she's always been involved or close to the title picture. It's always been like that with Charlotte. That's her character, and that's what made people hate John Cena, and I think that's what's making people hate Charlotte Flair.
It's amazing to me when they did that return for Charlotte, that they had her going in private jets and yachts and talking about her decadence and her opulence and how much money she has and how she's on her way back to dominate. And then it's like the Royal Rumble comes along. She enters 27. She wins the Royal Rumble. There were only 3 people left in that match. Granted, like, they did a long play out from 30 to the end of the match, but like, still, if you look at just the numbers, she wasn't first. She wasn't early in the field. She didn't face the same adversity that literally anyone else could have faced before her. And then she won. And then they come out, like you said, the Monday night after Royal Rumble, and they're trying to make her into this baby face where she's like, I won and I went through so much and people don't understand. And I almost thought I would retire, blah, blah, blah. And everyone's like, we don't buy this. Like, when are you going to turn around? Like, when are you going to do that Alexa Bliss and be like, and I did it without any of you people or whatever? Like, there was no turn. And they thought like, oh, we're going to do it. And then people just said like, no, you're not going to do it, because everything leading into her return was not a babyface thing to do. If you had done this whole like the Desire promos talking about Triple H videos, they did a package on that. If they had done something like that with Charlotte, then we would have been looking at it and be like, okay, you're creating sympathy on someone who had a serious, legitimate injury, went through the rehab process, looked like a beast throughout. Every time we got a progress report, everyone was like, she's going to be back next week. And it would only been like a month later. But the point of all that was they didn't. And instead, they just let you have that Charlotte, the one we all know, come in, dominate, win the Royal Rumble, and say, why didn't you love me? And it was like, because you're too powerful. Like, Sean called her the New York Yankees at one point. And when she was like, why can't I be the babyface? And the way that Sean put it was exactly such. Like, you can be the Yankees. You can be a dominating force in your sport, in your field. People are still going to boo you because you have the distinction of being the best. Yeah. You're going to have your followers. People are going to love you. You got millions of fans, people who love you for what you do and everything you do. But as a presentation on a television program, you suck. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't suck.
No, it's true. Like, it's true.
God, you're an asshole. But she's got to lean into that. But there's got to be emotion as well.
And like, that's the thing with like, when I got questioned about my top 10 greatest WWE women's wrestlers of all time on Sports Illustrated, there was people, of course, Romeo, who's like the biggest Charlotte Flair fan I know, who was like, oh, Charlotte Flair should be number 1 on the list. And I'm like, no, because I'm basing this on everything. I'm basing this on the promo. I'm basing this on character work as well. And those 2 sections is where Charlotte Flair falls off. She's cut the same promos for a decade. She's been the same character for a decade. Becky Lynch has went from a stereotype Irish dancing and everything in NXT, to the Smoke Punk, who the underdog who was kind of put down but still became the first ever SmackDown Women's Champion. But then she loses that to Alexa Bliss and she's put down again. And it always seems like she's going to be the last one to get the scraps, while Charlotte and Sasha Banks are in the spotlight. Even Bayley got pushed into the spotlight when she got to the main roster, and she had to come up. She did the failed heel turn that was supposed to turn her heel, but she's turning heel on Charlotte Flair, so she just turns more babyface in the process, becomes the man. Then she had that whole rise with the man getting punched in the face by Nia Jax, feuding with Charlotte and Ronda Rousey, two overpowering, domineering forces that the fans were against, and they just rallied behind her. She got to the top, won the first ever WrestleMania main event, and then had her year-long run, then goes away to, give birth to her first child, and then comes back and reinvents herself again. Big time Banks. I was one of the main people that were like, no, this doesn't make any sense. Becky Lynch, people want to cheer Becky Lynch. This is not going to work. But it took like 3-4 months, and it worked. It started to work because I saw it earlier in the chat. When was the last time we had a good build to a WrestleMania women's title match? Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch. Just 3 years ago. That was the best build to a women's title match at WrestleMania, because when Becky restarted or reignited her feud with Bianca at the start of 2022, it was when she was clicking as a character, as a heel character. They did the whole thing where she cuts the braid and stuff like that. Like, yo, that worked. That was great stuff. And this is why Becky Lynch is just a little bit better. She doesn't have as many accolades as Charlotte Flair, but she checks the boxes in promos and character work way higher than Charlotte Flair.
Just to make sure, did you say Smoke Punk?
Yeah, Smoke Punk. I don't know what was that character called when she came out? Steampunk, Smoke Punk.
Yeah. Steampunk. There was steam that
it was smoke.
It
looked like smoke to me.
No. The Street Profits want the smoke, and Becky Lynch was a steampunk cosplayer.
Steampunk, Smoke Punk. Hey, it's both white. So.
Jesus Christ. Well, I guess Cam wasn't totally off when he said what he said.
Gotta be racist.
Oh, God. Where do I even go from here? Oh, 45 minutes in. Look at us. We got through it. All right. Raw kicks off. John Cena comes out. Big old booze. John Cena sucks. He walks his ass down to the ring. Got a towel down. Now the towel's behind him while Stu and the gang follow slowly. The promo. Where do we start? Still no mention of The Rock 2 weeks in. No respect for what Cody's doing and his title reign inching up to 1 year and what that means, and how he both in and out of the ring in kayfabe and in real life has been a company leader for forward facing. No mention about anything about their match other than I'm taking the title, I'm going to ruin wrestling. And then he baby faces himself by saying, I'm going to beat Ric Flair's record. And we're just like, oh, could you? Other than that, the Cena promo was something. But I don't think it was good. I don't think it was bad, but it was something. I think we just needed a little more. And with how many Raws until we get to there? We got 1, 2, 3 more. London's going to be hopefully a big moment because it's London and the crowd's going to be hot. But they definitely need to do a little bit more with this John Cena Cody stuff. And I'm not saying they need to pull apart Brawl, because God forbid we get there with those two. I do not need it. But Cody even coming out and being even keeled throughout the whole thing, even though John Cena beat the shit out of him in Elimination Chamber. Actually, I will fight back on that, what I just said. When he came out the first week, Cody did, to confront John, and he said, you gave your worst and I still got back up. I think that was really Cody saying, that's all I'm going to say about that. I survived. What else you got? I think that's really what he was trying to say, is that because he shouldn't be going house of fire if he's just going to let that be his mind game. But total interaction thoughts, I'm interested in what you're hearing.
Yeah, I thought Cena and Cody, this was the lesser version of what we got last week. I was fine with Cena giving us the "You People" promo of why this was not explaining why he turned heel, is why he would be against the fans. And I respected it for that. I had my nitpicks, like you said, not mentioning The Rock, not really mentioning the Elimination Chamber beatdown, not mentioning going for number 17, not really even mentioning Cody in the promo. It was more John Cena versus the fans, and he had 20 years of history, 20 years of this toxic relationship, which I thought was an apt description of his whole beef with the fans, because it hasn't been all bad, it hasn't been all good, it's been very toxic, it's been all over the place. This one, when he comes out and does like the first 6 minutes of it, where it's just basically a rehash of last week, where he's just crapping on the fans, I think that's it really took me out, because I feel like the second half of the promo, where he gives us his goal of why he wants to win number 17 and a very cartoonish heel way of trying to ruin pro wrestling and how all of that was good, because it sets up, a Summer of Punk style story for John Cena to win the championship and try to leave and retire with it. I like that. But the first part, because I think that everybody was really excited for John Cena to turn heel, because we had the story made sense when he turns heel at Elimination Chamber. He's a guy that's lost for the last 4 years. He wins a matchup that gets him to the main event of WrestleMania. Cody Rhodes turns down The Rock to sell his soul, but he decides to sell his soul because he's desperate at this point. He's an older man that's no longer the strongest, that's no longer the best, and this is his last chance to win number 17 and go down in history. So he decides to sell his soul to The Rock. And I've been saying it and I said it last week. I think the issue here is that I don't know if WWE knows when The Rock is going to be back or not, and I think that's why they've kind of left him out of this story. But I feel like John Cena, this promo didn't work for me, because it no longer is John Cena is the heel now. Is John Cena was always the heel. That's what he basically told us. He said that this has all been his last 20 years of his career have been a social experiment, where he has been trying to basically find out more about the fans and find out some more to eventually, when he's done with his career, to screw them over in the end. And as his last fuck you, he's going to take the title, because that's what they care about the most, because he introduced the Spinner Championship, and that's when he realized that they care most about that world title. So he's here to take away the world title from the fans, from every wrestler, because that is the beacon of what they care about the most. I don't think that works as well as the original story, as the original thought of this guy on his last legs going and turning to the dark side, because that's his only option. Him saying that he's always been heel, that kind of took me out of it. That kind of disconnected me from what I thought was the best story going into WrestleMania. And now I'm kind of like, okay, you got to get me back next week at this point.
If he's stealing the title, why would he do that, knowing that he's working with The Rock, who is also on the board of TKO? Why would he want to ruin the business that The Rock, who he turned and joined, is part of the board? Unless Rock's going to be like, I'm making the new world order of WWE, brother. Like, there's no story beyond I'm going to do a hostile takeover, which again doesn't work in this world. I'm still wondering for John Cena, is he ever going to say when he decided that he wanted to join The Rock, or when he wanted to even turn on the audience? Saying like, I've been studying you for decades, like that doesn't mean shit. That doesn't mean I'm going to do it today, I'm going to do it tomorrow. When did he decide? When did he say, this is the moment and I'm so over you people? It wasn't, maybe it was the Rumble. It could have been as early as the Rumble, but like, I saw the way you people, reacted to Jey Uso, or, maybe like our Fightful account posted in 2018, the interaction between him and John Cena and Becky Lynch, where Becky went to go do the hand fake and did the, you can't see me. And like, maybe that was the moment. Like, what was it? What did it? Why did you decide to become this guy? Because other than, I want the title, which is something that you said at Money in the Bank when you announced that you were on your retirement tour. there's no change. The only change is in your demeanor. You're still doing the same thing, but now you're also adding on this, like, I'm going to take the title and I am going to ruin wrestling. And it's like, people in the chat have already made the joke. No, you ruin wrestling in like this date or this time or this. Like, I get it. How are you going to ruin wrestling? Because history also dictates when your best pal and mortal enemy, CM Punk, when he took the title and went home, you know what they did? They had a tournament to crown a new champion. When you want to get even weirder, when Hulk Hogan, fuck that guy, goes and has Jeff Jarrett, lay down for him. They do the whole Bash at the Beach 2000 stuff. You know what they did? They just nixed it and said, keep that title. We're going to crown a new champion tonight. The title is a prop. The moniker,
mind you,
means nothing.
You're not even mentioning the big one. There's another world title.
Yes, there is.
like, okay, John, take that one. It's fine. We'll just make this one the main one. Like, what? What is this? It was such, like I said, I like him going. I think it's a cool idea that could have worked, but everything that he said beforehand is what really just took me out of it, because it's like, I don't really believe this threat because there's another world title right there.
Well, you've been shitting on the build for that one anyway, so what does it matter? But the point of all this,
nothing matters. I've been getting gaslighted by fans. That's like, no, Jey and Gunther, the story is going fine. Everything's fine while the whole house is burning down. They're like, everything's fine. Everything's fine.
There are moments of that story where I'm like, okay, yeah, okay. And then there are moments of the story where I'm like, no, we missed a spot here. You're cleaning the house, but you missed the bathroom, and that's a pretty integral spot to be cleaning. You went and did the closets. I don't go into the closets that often, so what are we doing here? Yeah, you got a point. We'll get into that in a few minutes. But the John Cena stuff is absolutely mind-boggling in its own way, because John's telling this own self-serving story of wanting to win at WrestleMania, and he's not really invoking Cody at all, because Cody just comes out and first week called him a bitch, said, show up and be the old John Cena, or I'm gonna beat this guy and retire him early. And this week he essentially does the same, but now he's doing the Captain America, the people are with me routine, and like, that's fine, but it's not advancing anything. There was no reason to do this. There was no reason other than getting John Cena on the show and have him say words. There was no advancement of the story, and they need to be getting there, because Cody and John Cena could have been this story of respect. It could have been the number one versus the number one, like QBQB, time to pass the torch, whatever you could have done with it. And it would have been fine. And Cody's even said as much in a promo, as I was looking forward to this because that's what it was going to be. And now we have this convoluted John Cena wants to be the bad guy because he wants number 17, but he doesn't really tell you how, why, or where. And then he's going to ruin wrestling. And if he wins, what's he going to do? He's going to not show up until he's contractually mandated, or they do a tournament to crown a new champion. The only thing I see working out of this is the inevitable CM Punk John Cena rematch at like Money in the Bank, if they do it in LA, and John Cena gets to say, oh, now we're on my home turf. Now we're in LA. This is where I call home now. So we're going to do this, and I'm going to, beat you at your own game, and I'll go through the crowd of my people. You could do something like that. But you got a long time to get there, because Money in the Bank is, it's about 4 months after WrestleMania. You got to tell a few stories between now and then. So I don't really know what this is supposed to look like. And if The Rock's not involved at all because of the things you just said, where it's possible that they don't know when Rock's coming back or where he fixes in, if he should be in there, that's a big loss on WWE not doing due diligence. And I understand that Rock has all the cards, but someone's got to stand up and be like, we have stories to tell. And if you're not there, we can't tell any of these stories. You don't need to physically be there, but we need to know the beats so we know to plan for when you get back, and not have it be a night before SmackDown where you cut a promo and saying, I'm coming to this city and I'm going to bring the Mana with me. And we'll be like, fuck, fine. Cut the women's match. See you later. Like, what are we doing? There hasn't been an advancement yet to make me care about the John Cena Cody match, beyond the fact that it's happening and it's a different presentation of John Cena to the fans.
Yeah, I think that John Cena, he's he's trying to perform a new character, and I think he's doing a fine job at it. I just think he could be doing so much better if they had a more coherent story. And it really feels like, especially last night's promo, they are so scared that John is going to get any type of positive reaction. So that's why they have to go so hard and heavy on the you people part of it, because they fear that he's going to get cheered in any type of way. And we're 2 weeks in with these back and forths where it's not a back and forth. It's John Cena cuts a 10 to 20 minute promo, Cody comes out and responds, and then John leaves or Cody leaves. We're not going an actual back and forth promo exchange. There's been no promo exchanges, despite them advertising it as John Cena and Cody Rhodes under one roof. Then this week was John Cena and Cody Rhodes live. And then next week is John Cena and Cody Rhodes face to face. They've literally put out 3 graphics that are exactly the same, Joel. Exactly the same. They just reworded the last part of John Cena and Cody Rhodes. They just put different things. They're face to face. They're under one roof. They're live.
Did you ever see? Yeah, I'm sure you did. Remember when Roman Reigns would come back to SmackDown, yes, and every single time they did it, it was the same image, and it was the red bloodline, like tribal image in the background with the Roman Reigns with the fist, and it'd be like Roman Reigns returns or Roman Reigns is here, and it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Now we're doing it with Cody and John Cena, and we're just letting it go, and it's frustrating.
Yeah. This could be so much better than it is right now. I was willing to look past my issues with last week's promo because I thought that last week's promo was a great you people promo. I felt like this week, the good part of it is the second part of Cena's promo, where he actually gives us a mission statement and gives us a reason why he wants to win number 17, which goes in line with his whole character being against the fans. That was a good part of this. Cody's response, Cody shows good fire in what he's saying, but you got murked. You got mugged at Elimination Chamber. Like, you, at least last night when he challenges him to fight, slap him in the face. Like, I know we had a slap later in the show, so maybe you have a 1 slap per show minimum, so maybe you couldn't do that, but push him, do something, get physical with him, like show some actual fire in trying to fight him instead of just showing the fire in your promo. I agree with what you said. I felt like Cody came off very one note. I'm the good guy. I'm here to represent the fans. There's no issue between Cena and Cody right now. It's Cena versus the fans with Cody as the proxy.
I have some news. I have one more person I have to beat up in Las Vegas.
Uh-oh.
He just announced that Tom Pestic is joining Busted Open.
Bishop Dyer.
Now I got
the Nomad.
Now I got to beat up Baron Bishop and the rest of the crew. You think I got to beat up Nick Nemeth?
Man, I was trying to get my boy Bishop Dyer in New Japan Pro Wrestling, man. I want to see him in New Japan. I want to see him tear it up in the G1. Come on, man. You tell me, man, if y'all don't know, New Japan has a history of taking mid-card monster heels from WWE and then becoming bigger stars in Japan. The Giant Bernards of the world, the Luke Gallows of the world. Bishop Dyer would have been a great new addition to that lineage. But come on, New Japan. Come on, Gato. Sign Bishop Dyer. Sign the Nomad. I want to see the Nomad in New Japan Pro Wrestling.
He's going to be the replacement Lance Archer. They could do it. They could do it.
Oh, another one right there. Lance Hoyt.
I know. I got you. Volv sent a couple super chats, and we'll get back to John Cena if we need to. Saying, in some ways, this Mania is giving off that WrestleMania 2000 vibe, but we're so hot right now, we're just going to ball on some of these storylines. I think you mean Bale. I hope it's Bale, but Volv would be hilarious, and hope it works out. The only thing I remember from WrestleMania 2000 is pimpin' ain't easy, man. And then at the end, they just yell, biatch! And it was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean... I will say, yeah, the card is coming off WrestleMania 2000 coded, but the build to WrestleMania 2000 was a lot more entertaining than this build to this WrestleMania. There was so much chaos, so many titles being changed every week, and plus you had at the top The Rock and Triple H. Then they would throw in the McMahons and make it about the McMahons a bit. You had the McMahons feuding with each other. You also had Edge, Christian, and the Hardys and the Dudleys getting involved. Hey, Jeremy's here. What's up, Jeremy? He's still pointing.
There wasn't much sign pointing in 2000, though. They didn't have those signs going yet.
Yeah.
Actually, they did. Well, 15 they did.
Yeah, but not 2000.
Why didn't they have a 2000 sign? They must have. Maybe I'm just not thinking about it. Maybe it was a banner.
Maybe it was the video game poster or something.
Maybe it was a blimp. Do you know the story of the WrestleMania sign that every year they make it 1 foot taller or 1 foot longer? So it matches the number of WrestleManias there's been. So if this is 41, then this sign is 41 feet long, I guess, in this case, or 41 feet tall.
That's interesting. I did not know that. I did not know that at all.
That is true. Hi, Jeremy. Happy birthday.
Looks like my arm disappears into the
really
side.
Listen, you know what? We have to stop talking about things on this show because then they appear in a different format on their programming. We made the joke about Randy Orton and them fixing him in AI to point at the sign. And what the did they do last night? We got an AI generated promo video. We have to stop talking. We have to cancel the show. I have to go fight Tom Pestic now that he's joined Busted Open and just get ahead of things. We're done here. No more AI.
It is not my birthday. I will say that. Thank you for everybody wishing me a happy birthday. My birthday is not until September. It is my lovely wife's birthday. So happy birthday to the ITW Anonymous GM / that's their most important role, clearly. / my lovely wife and mother to our 12 children. So happy birthday to her.
I wished her a happy birthday. I wished it through you as well because my Facebook memories had FMC from 2022 when Jeremy did an episode of FMC and he basically was trying to be like, oh yeah, I told her, yeah, I gotta go do this show. You go get some rest. She doesn't get any rest. I was listening to that while I was out shopping with my family. That was nice. That was a nice reminder. So that's when I was like, oh, let me go wish them happy birthday. I didn't know.
Yes, it is her birthday today. It's been a long few hours here. Thank you to Joel for filling in. I apologize to everybody that I basically missed the show. I'm not sticking around for too long. I say that and I'll be here for like half an hour at the very least. But yeah, I had messaged Joel last night. I was like, can you do the show tomorrow? We've had a day, and yes, we've had a day, but I have to still appear. I have to keep the streak alive. Like I can't just be missing shows at all. So I'm here. I made an appearance. I'm here to ruin wrestling like my hero, John Cena. We are all here to ruin wrestling because who could possibly care about professional wrestling? We're here to ruin all of it. Me and John Cena. Get it out. Toss it in the trash.
I mean, one can argue he's already ruined wrestling.
How dare you?
Well, the end of the day, we all just said another fine speech, John Cena.
And that promo.
Thanks, Bob.
Man, the first week was fine. I liked the first week. They were just like, let me copy your homework, but don't make it obvious from the first week.
Dear ChatGPT, write me a promo with the following bullet points, but don't make it sound like last week's.
Like basically.
What are we doing here with this second week? And next week, guys, I don't know if you know this, but John Cena and Cody Rhodes are going to be face to face again. It's like
I said no. They did. The first week was John Cena and Cody Rhodes under one roof. This week was John Cena and Cody Rhodes live, and next week is John Cena and Cody Rhodes face to face.
Yeah. All right. Can we get a little bit more off of this? Does The Rock exist?
No, that's the thing. He doesn't. He's a ghost. He's Eric Young in WWE.
Like, I feel like he was part of that segment, and they just have not mentioned him at all. Travis Scott, I feel like he was there too, and they have not mentioned either of these guys. Do they exist in this world anymore. It wasn't a fan. Outside of Cena saying he was going to ruin wrestling, like this didn't do much for me.
I am glad that we seem to be all on the same page with this, because I felt like this was like last week was like Scream 1 and this week was like Scream 2, where it's not as good as Scream 1, but there's a lot of people that will tell you that Scream 2 was better. And I was like, and I saw a lot of people this week on social media be like, oh, this week was better than last week. I was like, no, it's pretty much the same, except he said he's going to ruin wrestling, and he gave us a cartoon villain reason why he needs number 17 to screw over the fans.
That did rule. I did love all of that. To me, that's not ruining wrestling. Wait a second. You're going to take the title and then retire it, and we're only going to have one title? Great.
Exactly. That's what I said to John. I was like, there's another world title.
My feeling was twofold. One was like him saying, I'm going to take the title and I'm going to get number 17 and beat Ric Flair. Well, that's a babyface move, John. Have you been reading? Are you reading the room? People are all for that. And number two was not only is there another world title, but like history has shown that if you walk off with the world title, they're just going to have a mini tournament to crown a new champion for the title you just left with. And then you're going to come back 2 weeks after that, and they're just going to have a unification bout at the next pay-per-view. John, we know this story. You were in it. You did it. You caused it. What are we doing?
I hope that, Dwayne came in swinging Johnson and did this whole elimination chamber bit, and he's like, all right, good luck. I did my part. Now you got to figure it out. And now they're trying to like make shift of how they're going to make this all make sense by not mentioning him at all. And then like the week of WrestleMania, Dwayne's going to be like, this whole thing sucks, doesn't it?
Fire up the camera.
Daddy's got to go to work. I got to save this shit again.
He's doing it twice instead of one time that he did it last time, where he came and tried to ruin it and then winded up saving it by turning it into the final boss. It was basically, what was I saying on here when we first started doing the Tuesday and Thursday show, Jeremy? I was like, is the road to WrestleMania going to start yet? Because it hasn't got here yet. And then The Rock showed up, and then the road to WrestleMania started, and then he does the big turn with Cena, and now he's gone again, and we're right back to the same discourse of, oh, this is a mid-WrestleMania build, so he's going to come back again and be like, hey, I did it twice in one build.
I love the idea.
Better than last year.
I love the idea.
Respect it.
Of of Dwayne The Rock Johnson doing this whole thing at Elimination Chamber and then be like, all right, deuces, see you later. And he's as like ZZ Top is blaring in the background and he's walking to his truck and be like, had a good day at work, baby. Just take a swig of the Mata, get in the car, be like, fuck yeah, see you in Vegas. This is just what we expect from The Rock. But the problem is now they can't do anything because they're stuck waiting for Rocky. Like there's no story advancement because it's like, well, if we veer from the path of John Cena doing this, then what's The Rock going to say? Is he going to show up and like fix it? But we don't know what the path is. So we just have to let the inmate run the asylum. It doesn't work.
Triple H is like, we're very collaborative with Dwayne. We bounce ideas off of each other. Meanwhile, he's been left on red for like 2 weeks now, trying to get his messages through. Dwayne, final boss, you there? What do you think about Cena's promo? How do you think this should go? Just nothing. Just read it 6:49 in the morning because, The Rock doesn't sleep and everything. Meanwhile, Rock's on Moana 2 red carpets and doing all that. Like, thanks everybody for making Moana 2 the #1 box office in 2025. It's streaming now on Disney, 100 million streams for the first week. Triple H is like, congrats on Moana 2, a really great show. My kids loved it. So what do you think of this John Cena program? Are you going to show up at any point? Love Moana. Chee-hoo! Dwayne, chee-hoo! Like, nothing. Just still on red. Can't get through it all.
I think it would be very funny to see. All he's got to do, Triple H has to do, is text The Rock, hey, do you want to induct me into the WWE Hall of Fame? You'll get an automatic response. Yes or no. You'll get a response. Oh, now that I've got you, hey, you want to talk about these WrestleMania plans? And then all of a sudden, beep, 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 beep. Oh, he hung up.
No, he's gonna ask.
It's Dwayne on the phone.
He's gonna ask Dwayne to present him into the Hall of Fame. Dwayne's gonna come with a title belt. He's like, I bestow this TKO championship onto you, but I'm actually gonna take this, and it's gonna be my TKO championship because I'm actually on the board. You're just like a dude who is in charge of creative for just WWE. I'm actually on the board of TKO, so I present this title to you, but I'm going to take it and hold it now. He's going to have his People's title. He's going to have his TKO title, and he's just going to be double champ Dwayne running the whole damn show. Got no choice but to respect it. What a worker Dwayne is. Love him. Absolutely love him.
And now it's all of this just to get to Cena and Punk at Money in the Bank in LA. Allegedly LA. And I was telling SP3 before you got here, like, that's the only thing that works is we do Cena and Punk, we renew the rivalry, Money in the Bank, and then this time Cena's like, I'm in my home turf. I'm in LA. I'm with Hollywood. Hollywood's going to love me when I walk out with this title, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to do the same thing to you that you did to me, 15 years ago, whatever it was, 2011, someone do the math. And that'll be that.
14.
Yeah, sure, why not? 14. Do I look like a mathematician? No. That'll be the play, and that's it. So, all the power to us. That Cena and Cody will be a fun match, but right now it is not a fun build.
Did you guys know Jey Uso sucks as a wrestler?
Oh,
I don't know if you guys
God.
Understand this.
Thank you for
awful.
the best segue. The best segue ever. Because I'm up here, and this is where I literally was like, I had to hit up Alex McCarthy and Sadie EAD last night. I was like, I feel like people are gaslighting me because people are trying to tell me, oh no, this is fine. This is great. It's playing off of real life. You're blending real life with wrestling. This is wrestling at its finest. And I'm like,
real life is that he sucks at his job.
I was like, real life is that he sucks and he shouldn't be in a WrestleMania world title match, let alone the main event of WrestleMania. That is how we are building a world heavyweight championship matchup.
Okay. Two things. One, can we start with the I told you so's, which it's not really to you, it's to other people who are like, Joe Hendry, it's Glasgow. And I'm like, no, it's Jimmy. Yeah. Gunther literally sat next to Jimmy on SmackDown and was like, your brother's a piece of shit. And Jimmy was like, okay, I don't think so. So what does Jimmy do? He joins his brother for a tag match. Like, we sat here for a week being like, it's Jimmy. People are like, no, it's Joe Hendry. I'm like, Joe Hendry wishes he was doing this because he could do all this pointing at the sign shit like we talked about yesterday. He would do the entire entrance pointing at the sign. He's just happy to have a signing at WWE World. He's happy as a pig in shit for that. That's one. Two, the Jey story. Okay. The root of it, or at least the idea of it, has always been that he's the underdog and he's going to overcome. They're not doing the best job of telling the story because of the way they've been telling it the last few weeks. It started off with the pull-apart brawls where Jey comes out, he wins the Royal Rumble. Big moment. Everyone's shocked. He's like, I don't know yet. I'm going to figure it out. They do the week of tease. Then he comes out and he says, I want you, Gunther. Gunther beats the shit out of him because he was yeeting for too long and it was taking these long 10-minute, victory laps. And Gunther was like, I don't stand for this. And then Jey's like, I'm going after you. And then they do the pull-apart brawl. And everyone was really into it because it was, first of all, the first feud going into Mania. Second of all, it was a hot angle. People were feeling that it was good. And then they did it again. Okay, why do we have to do this again? And then they started with the 8-Town Down stuff. And while they're doing the 8-Town Down stuff, you've got Gunther going after Alpha Academy. So it's like, on one hand, the idea must have been Gunther's going after the weak stars so that he can say, I'm beating weak people like I'm going to beat weak Jey Uso. And the idea should have been that Jey Uso then goes after topper guys, or at least mid-card people, not named 8-Town Down Under, and gotten wins on them and gotten statement victories and been like, look at me, I can do this. Instead, this story has become Crisis of Conscience Jey. Jimmy comes out and says, you're a bitch right now and you need to man up and basically beat Gunther's ass, and that's how you're going to win at Mania, because right now this boy isn't going to win. And then Jimmy instead steps to Gunther, slaps him so loud your mom heard it, and now you're going to get Jimmy and Gunther instead on Raw. And then I guess after Gunther beats Jimmy so bad that he makes him look like a bitch, Jay's going to have to stand up to Gunther again, and we're back to square one. There has been, again, on paper, there was like there are moments where you're like, oh, this can work. But in execution, a lot of this has just fallen apart, or at least by the wayside, and it has not executed. That's where we're at.
The problem I have with it, which is a few things, but Jey needs a flawless performance at WrestleMania. They are putting so much on him to execute flawlessly in this match. If people want to do the discourse of like, oh, Jay's not a good wrestler, you know, he did the dive, he messed up, like it happens, it is what it is. But when you lean into it and now you're saying, oh yeah, look how he's slipping on a spear. Look, he actually does suck. He actually does doubt himself. He's not on Gunther's level. Now you are saying he needs to be perfect at WrestleMania to win this match. Because if he's not, if he does have a mess up, not through his own, it's wrestling. Guys screw up, right? Like even the best performers might screw something up. It happens. But when you are telling people this guy is a screw up, if he goes out there and screws up, now people should be like, see, he's not ready. Why? And then if he wins, which we all expect him to, it's going to be, wait a second. He screwed up all leading up to the match. He screwed up in the match, and he still won? Gunther looks dumb. Jey doesn't look any better because we were told that he just isn't good the entire lead up, and then he proved that right when he screws up in the match, if he screws up in the match, and he still won. He's got to be flawless at WrestleMania. If he has a flawless performance and he wins the title, it's going to come off very well. If he slips up once, even you can't even do it by design. You can't even do it by design on this, because if he screws up there, it's like, oh, he just found his confidence during the match. It's like, that's not great. What? Then Gunther looks dumb because he had this weak dude and he couldn't beat him, and Jey still won the match. They're putting a lot of pressure on Jey to execute a perfect match at WrestleMania.
And that's kind of what they're expecting. And I'll throw it to SB3 in a sec. Is that's what they're telling you as well. When Jimmy's like, I want this guy. I want main event Jey Uso. I want the right hand man. Like, you are supposed to be that guy when you beat Gunther. It's going to be hard to do.
And like, I want to make this clear. A lot of the issues here is not just isolated to this feud. Gunther's world title reign has been booked horribly. This man was the greatest Intercontinental champion of all time. And what was the big thing that a lot of fans were saying? Like, oh yeah, he's great as Intercontinental champion, but wait till he wins the World Heavyweight Championship. You're going to see him in there with all the main eventers, and he's going to be having great matches, and he's going to be the dominant world champion and stuff like that. And what has he done since he became world champion? Face all the people that he faced before he was world champion, when he was Intercontinental champion, or when he was in the King of the Ring. Literally the only main eventer that he has faced, legit main eventer that wasn't trying to be made or wasn't in the process of being elevated, like your Sami Zayns, like your Damian Priest, like your Finn Balor's, like your Jey Usos. The only main eventer he ever faced was Randy Orton. And guess why he faced Randy Orton? Because they botched the finish to the King of the Ring final. That's the only person he's faced that is a former world champion, that is a legit main eventer. He has Triple H. This is my whole thing with this whole Jey Uso and all the issues, is that it seems like a lot of the fan base doesn't want to blame Triple H for this. Triple H has not booked the World Heavyweight Champion well. He hasn't booked the World Heavyweight Championship well in totality since he made it a thing in 2023. And now we're at a place where you have someone that you are presenting as not being good in the ring, as being a mess up, a screw up, only lucked out and fluked into a Royal Rumble victory, and you have literally not capitalized on it. You've literally not made him feel like he should be in the main event of WrestleMania, and now you're making his mess ups and his slip ups a part of the story. The whole story that would have worked here is Jey Uso, like Joel said, building himself up, getting confidence, becoming a threat to Gunther, and then you can lean into, oh man, Gunther's been dominant over beating his brother. He's been dominant against people with the crowd behind him. Oh, it doesn't matter if Jey has the crowd behind him at WrestleMania. Gunther can still beat him, like what they did with Axiom in Spain, what they're going to do with Jimmy Uso next week in London. It does not matter if the crowd's behind you. It does not matter if you are a Uso, if you got the bloodline behind you. Gunther can overcome it all. But they have not booked Gunther as a dominant world champion. They booked him as a mid-card world champion. That's what he's been for this entire reign, and it's been all downhill for Gunther's reign since Cody Rhodes beat him at Crown Jewel for no reason at all. We have not even seen that Crown Jewel ring since he won it. They literally had him job. They literally had him job. I know they wanted one babyface to win one of those rings. No. I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah, but we know the reason. The reason is the Saudis paid $50 million for these ugly looking titles and these rings. And so they're like, all right, I guess we're going to do this.
Gunther's the one who needed that win.
Oh, sure. But the fact, like, they shouldn't have done this title versus champion stuff anyway. That whole thing was just stupid, but we know the reason why they did it. What did I say on the show? I guess it was last week or so, SP3. Like, if you don't think your Royal Rumble winner can main event WrestleMania, that person probably should not win the Royal Rumble. Say what you will about Charlotte Flair. When Charlotte Flair is on screen, I believe that she believes she is the absolute top of the card and should main event WrestleMania. She might not be there for whatever reason. She might not main event WrestleMania. She won't this year. But when she's on screen, she has the confidence of, I'm the absolute best performer and nothing is standing in my way. And I'm going to literally step on everyone until I get to the top and until I'm the champion. Like, all right, she can win the Royal Rumble because she believes she is the best. If you put her in the main event, I can buy that. Jey Uso, you were making him out to be a wrestler who can't even run properly. He cannot run. What are we doing?
The irony, by the way, he's. Did you see what logo he slipped on? Of course, not.
Real American beer.
Yeah.
He should have just blamed that, honestly.
But now that it's back on the meet and greet docket, can't do it.
He's like, I'm gonna drink a Coors Light. That's a Coors Light because Real American beer don't pay me nothing. And hell, I might get on top of my wife tonight. I don't know if he has a wife, but that's what he should be doing because awful stuff. We have a run-in.
Wait, this is an unexpected one. Shoot, let's do it. You want to hang out? Joe, you in? All right, let's do it. Joe DeFalco from FSW joins us now. Good morning.
Hey, I woke up. I looked at the clock. I said 8:30. I'm like, you guys are on. You said the link works. I'm going to see if you were fabing me or not. So I clicked it.
We got you.
No, we shoot, brother. No kayfabe here.
I figured, hey, you know what? We just came off the show. Maybe you got some questions.
Yeah, we watched the show. We talked about the show on Monday. After the show was over, how was everybody feeling with everything? It was a great moment, by the way, especially Chris coming out at the end. And the overall show was very good. But obviously, the big thing was about Chris and supporting him. Yeah,
it was really amazing. And it was like the Silverton. I went to the website. I'm like, hey, I need you to add some tickets. And then when I went, it was like sold out. And it was like, no, add tickets. It's a benefit show. Who cares if there was people standing anyway? It was like, add some tickets, So it was the gate. I'm still waiting on the numbers, but it is definitely by far the biggest gate in FSW history. Attendance wise, it's a little smaller than Sam's Town, but we did at least easily 800 plus for the event, and it was just like, from the wrestlers to the fans, it was just it was very emotional watching Chris get in there. And again, for me, who's seeing him walk, it was still just amazing. Just the atmosphere from beginning to end. The crowd was so great, and I'm not sure everyone expected Chris to come out. We kind of announced it, but I'm not sure everybody pays attention to certain people talking on a microphone, and they were just like, "Holy crap!" So it was just amazing, I got to say.
Coming out of the show, the first question we got from our listeners and our viewers was, "Is Cross okay?" Because of the finish there, where he
I was watching right when it happened, and I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure. I'm glad that WWE insisted on the paramedics and ambulance being on site. I'm like, man, they didn't even hit me up about it. I could have saved $500 on this show. And then I saw that, and I'm like, imagine if he got really hurt, and they were like, where was the paramedics? Oh, I forgot. Never be able to work with them again. So, he ended up being okay. He said he was a little sore. I know Chris talked to him yesterday, so he's fine. He's still in Vegas till he said, I think, Thursday. So we're hoping to meet up a little bit to discuss some things. But, Scarlett being there was great. Kevin being there. And after it was all said and done, I'm really, really, really glad that we made Cross and Hammerstone the match, because, it just totally comes full circle with Bey, Cross, and Hammerstone. They pretty much ran my company for 7-8 years of our 15, all intertwined together. So it was a pretty special moment. I thought we were going to have to give Hammerstone a heel run, but then after taking out Limelight, he became well-liked again.
How was things leading up to it? Because I know a lot of things obviously changed. Swerve couldn't get cleared. Brian Cage was supposed to wrestle, and Ricochet ended up doing that match against Rich Swann. So how was things with having to shuffle all that stuff around?
Earlier in the week, I was made aware that Strickland had not been cleared on like Wednesday, and so we kind of knew the situation. TJP, he was working New Japan as of probably Thursday or Friday, so he wasn't going to be able to make it. So we were working on switching some things up, and we had settled on, talked with Chris by Friday, that Kenny was going to be in the 5-way. The original plan was going to be Swann, Cage, and Ricochet anyway. So that was going to be we were going to introduce them, and then all of a sudden Ricochet's music was going to hit, and that was going to be the triple threat. So we just went with, let's just add Swann and Cage. Because another idea was, hey, we could pull the Rascals out and have Ricochet and Swann versus the Rascals, which would have been the first time anywhere for that match. But, we didn't want to give we didn't want to move and shake more things, and we were trying to give our younger guys an opportunity to work with some of the bigger names. So, that was a show where whatever the matches were, as you said, everything was about Chris. So everybody was just happy to be there, which, you hear that term a lot, happy to be there. But yeah, that show, everybody was happy to be there.
Was Chris just kind of hanging out backstage and helping y'all with the movement of the show, or what was Chris?
Oh, yeah. There's at the Silverton in front of the dressing room, there's a big wall type thing that we put there. And for me to get backstage, which I'm running back and forth probably 50 times. So every time I'm going back there, Chris has to move out of the way because he's right by the thing, watching everything. And then with the younger talent and his girl, he's giving critiques and goes and talks to them. So Chris is very, very active, as I had said last time, that he's a major part of hey, putting together the matches and trying to see what he thinks they can do better. So, yeah, it was just great to be a part of. And people just kept walking through the door, and it was just wow, this is really amazing. We put out 6-7 rows, and it was is there any more chairs? And oh, yeah. It's guess we're going to need them. And then Ricochet's family came, and then all of a sudden, we needed to get a block of 12 people because everybody's in town for his wedding, which is tomorrow. So, our guys, you could yell at the students as much as we do all the time for their stupidity, but they were very fortunately they did well. I'll give them credit on a national platform for once. We told them don't be marks, don't be going around asking 50 people for pictures. You have a job to do. And fortunately, they did it.
All right, I'll ask. So Disco Inferno's local to Vegas, and he was part of the show. Was it an easy ask, or what? How was that relationship?
Oh, of course. We love Disco. Cross, you know, you ask Cross who was instrumental in his training, he'll tell you Disco. You ask a lot of the older students who was one of their favorite trainers. It was Disco. If you don't know Disco, well, then you see him as a person that's standoffish maybe. But when you know Disco, you know, great dry sense of humor. I think he's hilarious. You know, when we did the FSW GCW 2 show, Effie and Disco Inferno ended up being by far the most entertaining and cared about match on that show. And, you know, we had some great talent on that show. And people were like, I can't believe this match. Effie's going to work Disco. And Disco goes in, and he does exactly what's needed. Obviously, he's a lot older and a lot more banged up, so physically there wasn't much he could do. But he wanted to be there for Chris because he was one of Chris's original trainers.
What's next for you guys? Is Chris, and on the subject of Chris, is he going to stay involved in kind of helping out with shows and maybe helping you run things in some aspect?
I'm hoping he'll be more involved with the shows. Like, he's been involved with the training because Brittany Brooks, he'll come in a couple days a week with her and makeshift chemistry, my tag champs, the younger kids, and a few of the others come in early, and Chris gets access to the gym and he helps train her. But now that we've gotten the show and now Chris has been seen in public, 100% are going to be like, hey, you're going to come by the show. We got one April 4th. It's called Ground Zero because after No Escape, pretty much now we're in the middle of restarting new things. And, you know, my champ, Limelight, will be there. And Matt Vandegrift, who was part of the Unguided, he'll be defending. Gypsy Mac, my women's champ, she'll be defending. You know, it was great. Not only do we have WWE Hall of Famer RVD cut a promo in the ring, you know, Rey Mysterio at 5 a.m. in Europe sent me one. And then he sent us, I had to go to his house and pick up his masks and his jacket that he wanted us to raffle off. Didn't know how it was going to work. I have no idea what the value was. And one was the replica mask with the jacket, and that went for $450. But the OG mask, I guess, is a big deal. It ended up going for $1,000. So, cool. You know, on top of everything else, you know, and with the CAC donating $2,500 and the state assemblyman, you know, we're hoping Chris is going to get at least $25,000 out of this. So, you know, it's tremendous how the wrestling world really came together for this. So.
Yeah, I mean, it was a heck of a show. We got to watch it on Triller, and you can watch it too. It's on Triller Plus if you go back onto Triller now and take a look at it. So I couldn't tell you this last time. I will be in Vegas over WrestleMania week. So, Joe, I will be hitting you up for food suggestions for real time, for restaurants.
And this ain't the Chris Bey show, so if you need to be comped into any of the shows, you let me know.
I'll give you a shout.
I'll put you on the list.
I appreciate you. It was more for the restaurant stuff.
But that too.
But if I can get to a show or two and see you guys live and in person, I would love to do that.
No, absolutely. The WWE ID show on the Friday after SmackDown on April 18th. That should be a lot of fun. We got a Future Legend women's tournament Sunday at noon. We've learned by doing the FSW GCW shows that doing a noon show the day of a major event doesn't hamper people from coming. That's some of the best crowds we ever had, is people leaving our show at 2:30 to go to a 4 or 5 o'clock show when it's in at the Allegiant Stadium because it's literally 10 minutes away.
Oh, at Royal Rumble in 2019, I went to a all-you-can-drink mimosa wrestling match before we went to the Rumble. So yeah,
there you go. Yeah, you know, it's Vegas.
Joe, we appreciate you popping on. Let everybody know again what you guys got coming up and where they can follow you. And congratulations again on the Bay show again.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's on Trailer Plus.
It was a blast being up. So whenever I'm up early, every once in a while, I'm gonna just pop in and say hello.
For sure, you're more than welcome.
All right, see you guys later.
Thanks, Joe.
Take care of yourself. Joe DeFalco, fantastic. Just a random run-in, just because
it happened.
He tested us.
Yeah. Joe said he was going to do it. It's a man who keeps his word. He said, all right, I'm going to pop in. If you guys are not lying to me and the link is static, I'm going to show up. But like, you're more than welcome. We're not lying. And
now he knows.
What's your bluff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a bluff. It was an open invitation. It was, we're telling you the truth. You can pop on anytime you want and we will have you on. So we appreciate Joe joining us again. If you have not seen the Triller Plus show, go check it out. The Chris Bey benefit show. It's on there on Triller Plus. Thank you guys again for last Friday for raising money for that. That got sent over to them on Saturday is when I Venmo'd all of that funds to them. So, appreciate everybody in the chat on Friday sending in super chats to help raise for the Chris Bey benefit show that got sent to FSW.
And you don't need to wait for us. You can go ahead if you want to donate on your own. You can always go over to the FSW Twitter or any of their socials. They have links to donate. People are passing around the Bey GoFundMe if you want to do it like that, or through Venmo or through Zelle, whatever you want. There is a way to donate. You can do it however you want to do it.
Yeah. Yep. There's the GoFundMe. And like Joel said, there's a Venmo, Cash App, and a couple other things. If you go to the FSW Twitter page, I don't know if it's penned anymore. It was penned leading up to the show, but I've not checked their social media to see if it's still penned up there. But it's there. It's there. You can find it. So,
look at us doing an impromptu in Cheerio on a Tuesday afternoon.
So we do. This was my fault. We were supposed to have 2 guests today. I know I mentioned that yesterday, but because I had stuff come up last night, I rescheduled things because I wasn't sure if I was going to make the show at all today. So I rescheduled everything. So we're scheduled. I'm going to say this and I'm going to completely, jinx it as always. Scheduled to have Anthony Green from just signed with MLW or just announced for MLW Battle Riot, I should say. And I'm sure we'll break the news on like Wednesday night that he's actually signed with MLW, but scheduled to have Anthony Green on Thursday show. And then I'm rescheduling Jay Bougie, who was supposed to be on today as well, rescheduling him for hopefully later in the week, if not next week. He was someone we want to talk to before Mania. So we got a few weeks to get him on the show, but that's all me. I had to rearrange things because of stuff that came up. And that's why Joel's here too. So I apologize for that more than anything.
It's okay. I'm banking up time before we get to my entirety here most of April. So we'll be okay. I think I want to move to the Rhea, Bianca, and Io conversation from Raw because that took a bit of a turn. They did the 3 women in the ring, the pie facing Io, the little sister Io. Io gets upset. Adam Pearce is in the ring the entire time. And they essentially set up it's going to be Io versus Rhea Ripley on Monday from Raw in London. And Bianca Belair is going to be the special guest referee. This was not very well booked, in my opinion. Bianca looked incredibly bad. Having to go back to the back and be like, what am I doing? What is this? It's like, you're going to be in the match regardless. Like, you're going to be in the WrestleMania match. Like, why are you getting upset? But also, you're going to be the referee. I just told you out there that you're going to be the referee. Why are you coming to the back so confused about what you're doing when you were told you're the special guest referee?
No, she wasn't told during the actual segment. She was told in the backstage segment. That's why she did the whole thing. I agree with you that she shouldn't have been upset because he did say you're going to be the winner of Rhea and Io is going to face you at WrestleMania. But they just did that backstage segment to announce that she's a special guest referee. I totally agree, though. The in-ring segment, it was basically what Jeremy said earlier about the John Cena segment. It was like, oh, let me see your homework, just reword it a little bit. And it's basically the same segment we've seen the last 2 weeks. They just said the same things in the ring to set up a matchup that he could have booked weeks ago. And he said he's been trying to book weeks ago, but Rhea's been whining and complaining so much and doesn't know how contracts work that he wasn't able to give her the matchup that she really wanted, which is a rematch for the Women's World Championship. And it's just like, you just set up a matchup that has the most obvious finish to it of we're going to get another non-finish to set up a multi-person matchup at WrestleMania. It's quite obvious that's where we're going. We're not going to get Bianca versus Io. We're not going to get Bianca versus Rhea. We're going to get this triple threat. So eventually, this is just the long way to get to the matchup that we've known we're going to get since this whole thing started.
So yes, however, what if it's not? And what if Rhea does win? And Bianca's like, screw you, I want to beat you up one-on-one. Forget this Io. And that's it. Maybe what if Rhea comes up to Bianca and says, let me win and I can beat your ass one-on-one. We won't have anyone in between us. They plant the seeds of doubt. I'm more of the belief that it'll be a triple threat. But because of the Jey Uso winning the Royal Rumble stuff, there's also a part of, and Io winning the Women's World Championship for that matter. I'm of the belief that, like, yeah, they could have just used Io as like a 4-week detour to surprise you and be like, anything can happen on the road to WrestleMania. And we just go right back to Rhea and Bianca. And Io was a side quest of nothing because it's not like anything happened other than the pie facing and the beat ups in the matches. So there is that part of me.
Wouldn't Io get a rematch though?
Yeah.
Does she though? Because I thought automatic rematches were done. That's the one thing
Rhea just got a rematch.
Exactly.
They do automatic rematches when it suits their need. I guess theoretically it's like, well, no, you don't get an automatic rematch because only people who successfully defend their title at least once get an automatic rematch. Like they can obviously make it up because it's wrestling. It's all made up and it's all real but made up at the same time. But I guess theoretically they could do that. But yeah, it just feels like Io's gonna like hit Bianca by accident and Bianca's gonna DQ her and then Rhea's gonna get mad and be like, so see, you don't want to face me, and then Pierce is gonna be like, we didn't have a finish, it's gonna be a triple threat. Where Rhea screwed up? Like she thought this contract was legally binding, and it's not. It's not legally binding. You know what's legally binding?
Yep, she didn't point.
That's all she had to do. That's all she had to do. She just had to point to the sign, and she would have been in the WrestleMania match. Pierce would have been like, fuck, she pointed. I have no authority over the point. I cannot overrule the point. And Triple H points to everybody in the back. That means it's official, right? So that's why everybody points. That's the official, you're in the match, or this is happening. You gotta just point.
I just don't understand why Triple H is like going the most convoluted route with all of these feuds and then telling us the feud is one thing and then saying it's another. Because we also had on the show CM Punk, who tells us that he's about business. He doesn't make it personal. Yet he's having a triple threat that's on a personal rivalry. And then you got this whole feud, which is supposed to be about the Women's World Heavyweight Championship. And you had 3 well-defined characters that are over with the crowd going after it. But it's not making too much sense because you're just repeating the same trope. His form of long-term booking, Triple H, is doing the same thing over and over and over again, doing the same story beat 3 weeks in a row.
You know what story beat?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
You know what story beat CM Punk did on Monday?
I'm old and I'm fucking tired and I work with fucking children. I'm tired of wrestling these kids that think they know everything.
I did pop for that. That did kind of rule.
I was gonna say he did the whole I brought you into this wrestling world and I'm gonna take you out of it. I'm like, Jesus Christ, you sound like my dad.
That kind of ruled, honestly.
I would say I did say to Jimmy Baccarum, I was like, this was a good promo that could have been an email. At least he learned from Seth. Seth gave us an awful promo that could have been an email last week. So at least CM Punk gave us a good version of it. But I am really getting annoyed at these 2 Raw wrestlers where only one of them can show up on Raw to promote SmackDown where the real build is going on. That is like this build would work so much better if Punk and Rollins were working on both shows. This build would be so much better, and it just feels less than it's supposed to be. And that's the same thing with Rhea and Io and Bianca. If you just skip the middleman and just made it a triple threat right now, I think that we would have more of a streamlined way to get to WrestleMania where you can build up all 3 women, maybe do a beat the clock challenge and they choose a stipulation for the matchup one week. You could do so many different things, but just repeating the same story beat and then Punk, Rollins, and Roman doing promos that could have been emails to set up the real build on SmackDown. And you guys said it very well yesterday. SmackDown, I wanted some great promo work, and all we got is them repeating the same stuff that we've already seen or they've already said, and it's just the only thing that was worthwhile is Punk basically making Roman come off like a jealous bitch. That's the only thing that it came at all. Oh, I'm speaking to your boyfriend. You are? And then he gets attacked from behind, and then they just do another pull apart brawl. That's the only thing I got from the SmackDown segment. The only thing I got from last night's segment is that we're gonna get Rhea and Io against each other with Bianca Belair as special guest referee to do a non-finish to set up the triple threat matchup. And it's just like, God, why are you going this like convoluted way, this not very entertaining, not very creative way to build all these great matches when the bell rings are all going to be great because these are major stars going at it, but he's just going the most least innovative and creative way about all of these feuds.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but WWE is very hot right now.
In case you've been living under a rock.
That's right. In case you've been living under a rock. Did you know I'm going to be in the Hall of Fame? Hey, Dwayne, do you want to induct me into the Hall of Fame? Sorry, I'm having so much fun cleaning out my keyboard that it's about as much fun as I had watching Raw on Monday.
Why was a MAGA coded gimmick the best thing about last night's Monday Night Raw?
Let's get that. We got a super chat from Ted Ruza saying, "The hell is a Grande America?" It's El Grande Americano. You son.
It's a Starbucks order.
It is a Starbucks order. That's
El Grande Americano, a large coffee.
You're not escaping the allegation.
I'm gonna go to Starbucks. Here's a content bit for everybody. I'm gonna go to Starbucks and order a Grande Americano and be like, "This is a coffee. I ordered a luchador. Why are you giving me this?" That might get somebody canceled. But if you want to go get yourself canceled, there you go.
I'm going to be surrounded by people in Vegas going to Starbucks and getting, "Can I get a Grande Americano?" And then they're going to get it. They're going to be like, "Gracias." And we're going to be like, "Shut the fuck." Anyway.
This is why you got to do it first. Yeah, everybody's going to do it in Vegas. But if you do it now, you get it out there first.
Bold of you to think I drink coffee. Love that Reg has been calling them out. Points out Sammy, says WWE is not political. I know people keep getting on Sammy's neck over that comment. I did it too. The El Grande Americano. There are multiple sides to this. The AI generated stuff, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I'd rather they don't use AI generated anything. Now, what they can do if they want to draw some heat to it, or at least make it part of the story, is someone can eventually say, "Oh, Chad Gable made this because he's a heel, and he used the AI to pull one over on our production team." Problem is, the production team still aired it.
There's that, and I realize this is super inside baseball that like maybe only I and people who read Chad Gable articles know. Chad Gable loves doing video editing. That's what he would be doing in another life, and that's what he wants to do if and when he retires from WWE. He wants to be like a video editor and put together like title screens and things like that. So him being like, I used AI, again, super inside baseball for me. And I'm like, no, you wouldn't, Chad Gable. You're not going to be able to use this stuff if you want to do title screens for movies and things like that. You would use real tools for this. So I don't believe at all you want to use AI.
I'm going into my Google Doc in which I have put together questions for WrestleMania week based on some wrestlers that I might be seeing. Braun Strowman, for example, I'm going to ask him what he did with the big green Saudi belt.
No, I don't care. No. You know the one question you got to ask.
Nipple
Braun
rings?
Strowman. No, I don't give a fuck about his nipple rings. What? No. The one question you have to ask Braun Strowman. The train noises. No one has asked about the fucking train noises when he ran around the ring. I'm sure it was a Vince call, but I want to know who made that decision and what he thought about. This is the only thing I've ever cared to know about Braun Strowman is when those train noises hit, Who made that call, and what were your thoughts on it? I can't believe no one's asked this. Maybe it's just a me thing because this is how the only stuff that I care about. That's the only question I care about for Braun. Write that down.
It's already, it's there.
It's
there.
Okay.
I've got big green Saudi belt and train noises. For Chad, I'm going to ask him to critique the Grande Americano from a video editor's perspective and whether he would use AI to put together such a video package.
That's good. Look, hit me up for these questions, Joel. You know I got a bunch of them because I know I've listened to all of these interviews and I hear what they're asked about a million times, and I also know their interests past professional wrestling, which is way more important than
I want to ask non-wrestling questions where I can, but also I don't know, nobody knows who's going to be part of these junkets until like the night before, if you're lucky, and even then people get replaced and moved around. So like I was like, I don't even think Braun's going to be there, but let's just put it put it on the list just in case. Chad most likely will be there, or at least some form of American Alpha, or American made, whatever they're calling them now.
Braun will probably be in a multi-man U.S. championship matchup, so he'll probably make the junket.
Maybe because like they're doing stuff with him and LA Knight and Jacob Fatu, so like I think they would do it. Also, he's doing the stupid roast, so they're definitely trying to make Braun Strowman visible throughout the weekend. By the way, this was interesting. Of all the events that WWE put out there for media, none of the Fontainebleau events were on the list. I think there's a reason for that, and it's not like it's just we want to make as much money as we can before we offer it up to you, because everything else was like, come see WWE World or go to the events at T-Mobile or Allegiant Stadium. So, found that interesting. But yes, those are questions that I will be asking various wrestlers when I get my chance.
So, Grande Americano to announcing from Gulf of America.
That's dumb.
What are we doing? If you want to do a luchador bit, fine. He's not the first to do it in wrestling history. He's not going to be the last to do it. It can be cute. Like, it was cute the first couple of weeks, and then they took the guy away, and Gable's interviewed with Kathy Kelly, I think it was. It's like, see, it's not me. Look, he's doing that. It's like, okay. But like, do we really got to lean into Gulf of America and this history of fake luchadors when you have real luchadors on your roster? If you want to like actually talk about the history of luchadors, you can actually educate your fans and be like, hey, actually there is this Mil Mascaras guy who I'm pretty sure is in the WWE Hall of Fame. Here's the history of the Mysterio family. Like, you can actually do some, like you can actually do some real. I'm not going to pretend to be a lucha expert, so I'm not going to get into certain luchadors and make myself look stupid, but you have actual luchadors that you can use like the history of. So why do this? And then Gulf of America, it's just like, you know what you're doing. You can't even feign ignorance on this. Like, oh, we didn't know. We just thought it was funny instead of Gulf of Mexico. No, there's too much evidence of people you are working with literally a month from now that you know what's going on here. So you can't even say, we just thought it was a funny bit. You know what you're doing here, guys.
Kind of feel bad for Sammy at this point.
I feel bad for a lot of them, honestly. I mean, I don't know if they got the decisions, that they could, they can say no to and things like that. Like, those, I was saying that's the point. It's fake disrespectful luchador versus real luchadors. I would buy that more if they didn't lean into other portions of it.
Yeah.
My one question is, what about this makes this character the dark arts lucha libre? Because that was the whole, like, I'm going to find out, and I paid this guy, but like, you got a mask for $500 and you got hosed. And did it come with like I don't know, did it come with Photoshop and Adobe Premiere and like and a how to make videos? Like, what were the dark arts of lucha libre that got us to this point? Because otherwise now you're just coming off as a weird like lucha grifter, and it doesn't really storyline make any sense to what we're doing here.
Like, now you wield all this power because you have what we presume is the mask. It's like, man, if these masks were so powerful, We'd have more than just Rey Mysterio as the champion for the past 20 years here. Like,
Dragon Lee would have a place on a WrestleMania card after getting screwed over last year, if that was the case. But I will say, all that, all the bad stuff for not so clicking stuff, withstanding. Like I said, I thought it was the best part of the show because the matchup with Dragon Lee, that was really good. That was the match of the night. That was it. They worked really well with each other, and he was more of like, he used his Chad Gable style moves with the suplex. That exploder suplex off the apron was beast. Oh my god, that bump for both of them. I was like, and then Dragon Lee with the double stomp out of the trio woe going to the floor. I thought he really popped his knee out because he was selling it so well, and then it took him a while to get back into the ring. So I thought the match was really well done. I thought the finish was really well done with him ripping off the mask and then locking on the ankle lock. So yeah, I wasn't feeling the Gulf of America. I did kind of like the vignette myself. I wasn't too against the vignette because I was like, this was a nice logical next step to go with the El Grande Americano character. But yeah, it wasn't as good as it could have been, but it's very much Owen Hart playing the Blue Blazer. So I do like that part about it, with Chad Gables being like, I'm sick, and he actually has the real doctor's note about it. That was funny.
Love the idea that he has to wear a mask.
Chad Gable is very good in this role. Chad Gable is very good at anything you give him. And the bit of the luchador thing, no problem with it. We've seen it a million times. We're gonna see it again 20 years from now. It's just when you're leaning into Gulf of America and things like that, it's like, is this necessary? Does anything change if you don't do this? If you just say he is from somewhere in America, the dark arts of America, because Joel's right about the dark arts thing. What was that all about? What was the whole point of you have to go here and now you have great power, and it seems like you just have a mask and now all of a sudden you can wrestle more like a luchador. All right, sure. Nah. Is what it is.
Contenders adding, we getting a second JBL and Eddie spot in the border when? Are they going to be anywhere near a border in the next few weeks? The Raw before Mania, they're going to be in California.
There you go.
Nah.
Which, but like where in California? California is a very large state for those who don't know. Let's take a look real quick, because like that's the next time they're in Sacramento. That's the Raw before Mania. Sacramento's North Cali?
That's the capital. So
no idea.
All right, now I got to go to Google Maps because you guys don't know your geography.
No, I've been to California once, and that was years ago. And it was for a layover. Like
it's NorCal. Screw you guys. I was right.
I haven't been in California in a decade, maybe. Yeah, Kobe's last Christmas Day game, I went to there. That was the last time I was in California.
Good Lord.
The NBA MVP is in California tonight, in Sacramento tonight, actually. That's all I know. I don't know where Sacramento is. I just know the NBA MVP is there, and he's about to drop 30 on him.
All right. Should we talk about the Intercontinental Championship, and then we can start talking other stuff?
No, I don't care about the Intercontinental Championship. I'm leaving now.
That's fine. You don't even need to. Well, okay,
he said on that note, I'm out.
I mean, I'm fine with it. Listen, probably Fightful Selector reported Penta, Braun, Dom, Finn, multi-person Intercontinental Championship match. Penta and Braun did a no finish, and here we are.
That was dumb. That was so dumb. That's my comment.
Carlito was the best part of that whole thing. Maybe I should go for some gold.
I hate this. I hate this. Stop doing run-ins and non-finishes in your main event. If you're going to do it, which I don't fully love doing it, period, but if you're going to do it in the opening match and make sure the match is like 10 minutes or less. Don't have the audience sit through the entire show and then the main event match, and then you do a non-finish. It's one of my biggest pet peeves as a wrestling fan is I just sat through a 2.5 hour show, maybe 3 hour show. Maybe it's only 2 hours. Regardless, doesn't matter what the company is. I don't care. This is not company specific. It's company specific right now because we're talking about something that happened on Raw. But overall, it's not company specific. Do not do a non-finish in your main event. It is a disservice to your audience who has sat there for 2+ hours and has hopefully been really good all night. But if they haven't, then they're getting that in the main event. It leaves a bad taste in everybody's mouth, from whether they're in the crowd or whether they're watching at home. It's like, great, I sat through this whole show and you're not even going to give me a good finish for the end of it. I'm not even going to be rewarded for sitting through this whole show. I hate that. And last night I didn't love it because who could possibly care about the Judgment Day? Who could care?
The Judgment Day closed the show. I was like, this might have been the flattest finish to an episode of Monday Night Raw in like a year. Like I was like, the Judgment Day has not been good since Rhea and Damian Priest left the group. Yeah, it's been all downhill since then, and it wasn't even that good before SummerSlam.
Guys, it's been downhill ever since that Hulk Hogan wannabe Adam Copeland forced his will to change the finish on the WrestleMania 39 match against Finn Balor. Bunch of dorks.
Lab Blast, I will say this. The NWO stuff, I was young, and so I didn't care quite as much because I was not as I was just like, cool. Like it's the NWO and it's Sting coming out at the end. Look, at least you got Sting at the end of a lot of that. That was at least something to pop for. The Roman Championship reign, there were finishes. You know, I wasn't always satisfied with the finish of like, okay, we know what we're getting. It's the run-in. But like, at least there was a finish to the match. And it made you hate Roman more out of this. I didn't hate the Judgment Day out of this because I don't buy the Judgment Day as anything serious. Finn loses all the time. Dominic loses all the time. Carlito doesn't wrestle. Why do I think the Judgment Day are a serious group? A big difference between doing this stuff with Roman, the top guy in the company, and at least giving you a finish where heels cheat. All right, fine. NWO, top guys in the entire industry at the time. And again, good heel heat on that. And then you still got Sting, hopefully at the end to make up for it. And giving you this version of Judgment Day and acting like, hey, they're heels. We really screwed you out of something here. No. And big difference of, especially in 2025, we know it's booking, right? Like when we're 8 years old and we're watching it, there's real heat to be had when it's NWO. When it's 2025 and Triple H is like, can't wait to see if John Cena, what he's going to do as a heel. Baby faces, heels. We're just here telling stories. It's like, all right, so the story you're telling is this group that you've been burying for me for 15 months now. I was going to say years, but they haven't been around that long. It's just going to come in here and ruin the main event. All right, sure. I was saying it sounds like it worked. They got heat from you. I think it sucked.
No, that's not. I think you are confused on what's heat and what's happening. This is him expressing that he doesn't care.
No, like you can think I care because you're talking about it and you're ranting about it and everything. Heat is like, I want to see them get beat up. I don't want to see them get beat up. I can go back and watch Raw 2 weeks ago and see them get beat up. I don't want to see them get beat up at all. I don't want to see them on my TV. It's the Xbox heat at this point. Like, I don't want to see them. I don't take them serious. I want to see a good match between Braun and Penta.
And did y'all see the reaction that social media gave when Sean had the report of the 4-way matchup for the Intercontinental Championship? It was like that one report made everybody be like, oh man, this WrestleMania build is kind of mid, isn't it? It's like, yes, I've been saying this for 2 months. Why are you not listening? I felt vindicated, but at the same time, I was like, why did y'all just figure this out? And people were like jumping through all these different hoops of, oh man, the Intercontinental title needs to be a singles match. It needs to be. They've been telling us for 3 months that this is going to be a multi-man matchup. Braun did a 2-week angle with AJ Styles. They just dropped it. He did a face-to-face with Penta. They dropped it and then brought it back. Then he's been feuding with the Judgment Day for a couple of weeks now. He was feuding with Sheamus in January, and Sheamus is gone. He just came back in Belfast. He still hasn't come back on TV. Ludwig Kaiser was going after the Intercontinental Championship. This has been written in the stars for months that the Intercontinental title was going to be a multi-man matchup. But these fans have been jumping through hoops, trying their best to not blame Triple H for anything because God forbid, we say a booker isn't perfect. Because I've been saying, y'all, why are we not going so hard on Triple H the same way we would be on any other booker? I feel like so many people are Attitude Era fans that love Triple H as a wrestler that just want to believe Triple H is the perfect booker in the world when he's kind of mid. He's very mid if you look at this build to WrestleMania.
Do you want me to tell you why? I don't think you're aware of it right now if you've been living under a rock.
Because it's baby faces and heels and stories, and that's all it is. It's baby faces and heels and stories. That's all we got to care about. All right, I'm going to jump off.
Flawed Paul. Last thing before you go, this was on Beyond the Bell over on our other channel. Henry has sent the super chat. Andrew Zarian saying during Stanley Cup playoffs, Warner might test with the schedule, do a longer Dynamite special, possibly Dynamite and Collision Super Show. I mean, we've seen this before when they used to do a Dynamite and then a live Rampage afterwards. So a 3-hour block of wrestling is not out of AEW's experience. A 4-hour block is another question. I don't know if that's what their plan is. But I mean, you've got the NHL playoffs are scheduled to start on April 20th, which is a Sunday, and the finals start on June the 9th. So this can stretch out all the way till mid-June from April to then, depending on how the schedules bust out.
4 hours? Is it going to start at, oh my God.
There's nothing is confirmed that it would be a 4-hour show. It could easily be just like they did Slam Dunk Sunday and Slam Dunk Saturday. They could do something like that. Henry's saying 2 hours before games, 2 hours after games. I mean, I wouldn't hate that idea. It's wrestling before, then you watch some hockey for 4 hours, and then you get to wrestling.
Let me tell you.
If you're in it.
Yeah, I'm going to tell our team right now that, like, I'll cover the before show, and if the Avs are playing, I ain't covering the after show because
that will affect everything.
Yeah. I'll get a lot of people mad at me, a lot of wrestlers mad at me, and be like, "Why is Jeremy so angry over this Kenny Omega segment here?" Like, well, the Avs lost, so fuck Kenny Omega and fuck AEW right now. All right, that'll get clipped, and no one cares about the show enough to clip it. But no, I ain't covering the after show in that case. Hopefully, more people get exposed to the great Nathan McKinnon and Cale McCarr.
They had good lead-ins for those slam dunk collisions, right? If you want to get into the ratings, they did really well coming out of the NCAA tournament, and good for them. If that's something that they think that hockey will do, great.
Zeno Hour,
there it is.
You're in a timeout.
There are two things with Jeremy Lambert that you cannot mess with. One is his fandom, and two is his work ethic. Those two things alone will absolutely render you a timeout or worse. Come on.
Zeno Hour's been putting a timeout, not having it. Nope. A lot of people are gonna get timeouts in the coming months. Because, the Thunder are going to be in the playoffs and the Avs are going to be in the playoffs, and I'm going to be a fucking disaster for those.
Can't wait.
It's
looking like second round.
SP3 is going to be
Lakers and Thunder. Lakers and Thunder, baby. Second round.
SP3 is going to be in a timeout for half of the show.
That's fine. This show's basically done anyway. NXT.
How can I take a Zeno Hour off of a timeout from from
I don't think you
StreamYard.
can.
And how
He has
long
to
do
wait
you-
the 5 minutes. He has to
It's just
wait
10.
for-
Yeah, it's 10 minutes.
Oh,
Oh, is
10
it 5 minutes?
It depends
know.
on how you did it.
It just says
Yeah.
put user in timeout. I don't know how long it is.
Whatever. NXT's tonight. Stephanie Vaquer has got 2 defenses. Her women's championship puts up against Jada Parker. North American title, she puts it up against Fallon Henley. And then the Heritage Cup is on the line. Lexis King defends against Javon Evans. That's all that's announced right now for NXT as of right this moment. They're in Orlando, so don't expect a fire show. Just expect a pretty good show. When they're on the road, that's when they care. Anything else to cover?
Wallabies in timeout.
Wow. Wallop. I like Wallop.
I like Wallaby. Come on. Don't do that to him.
People are masochists. You're just
Oh,
going to
my
mute the
goodness.
whole chat before we go.
Well,
I
chat
think
shouldn't be assholes.
Chat should be talking shit.
Yeah.
I think
Chat shouldn't be
Stephanie
talking
Vaquer is going to retain both titles because they're going to do her defending 2 titles at Stand and Deliver.
This was
Okay.
this is the test run to do it. We're
Yeah.
going to do it. We're going to do it. All right. Jeremy has been under the thought that she'll put the title against Jada. She'll win, and then Fallon later on will take advantage of a beat up.
Yeah.
Stephanie Vaquer win the title in the because that is the main event tonight. Is the North American title
Yeah.
match. She's opening presumably against Fallon or against Jada Parker.
Not presumably. That's announced.
Is it announced that she's opening with the first match? Okay, I didn't
Yeah.
know if that was going to be the crossover or not. Okay, cool. So there you go.
I just think that
championship.
that devalues her win from Roadblock.
Yeah, but they don't care about that, SB3.
I know
You just had 2
they don't
hours.
care about that, but let's please care about the build to stop.
I'm with you.
please.
I'm 100% with you, but we talked about it last week after Vaquer won. They do this every single time they have a double champion. The double champion loses within a month of getting both of those titles, or they just vacate one of them a week later. Like they never have a long double championship reign. Roman is the exception to the rule. Every other time it has been, and then Roman just combined the titles anyway, so it just became one title. Every other time they've done a double champion when it's been 2 not equal titles, because Roman's 2 titles were equal in theoretically. They were both world titles. When it's been a world title and a mid-card title, it has always been they drop that one title within a week or 2. And that's it. And Becky would be the other example of she had 2 world titles and she still dropped one within the first month of getting both of them. So I fully expect Fallon Henley to win. If Vaquer wins, great. I'm for it because she should, honestly, she should win and she should defend both the titles at Stand and Deliver. That's what I thought they were going to do initially, but expectations are low. My wrestling expectations are always low.
I think I'm going to
Especially
Stand and Deliver.
You going to Stand and Deliver? It should be a
I think
good
I'm
show.
going to, because it's going to be a good show, but also going to a wrestling show at like 9 a.m. is just a hilarious thought for me because I'll be up anyway. So why not? They're going to have to get me there at like 8 a.m. I'll be like, that's going to suck. But I'll probably go. It'll be fun. There's going to be enough going on that week. I think that's it for us. We'll talk about everything else in the world of wrestling tomorrow. Jeremy and I are presumably back. We'll talk about.
I should be here for all day tomorrow. Thank you again, Joel, for stepping in today, and appreciate you.
Not a problem. And we'll be back again tomorrow. Plug the stuff, and then tomorrow we'll talk about NXT, and we'll probably talk about how much Mercedes Moné hates his kids, and then we'll talk about Saraya.
No, who cares? Who cares about all that tomorrow? You know what tomorrow is all about, Joel. Vanilla, baby. I choke you, but let's go. Blake Christian,
in the main event.
AEW International Champion tomorrow, baby.
It's not
tomorrow.
for the international title. It's a non-title match, but he's in the main event.
What?
It's not a title match.
What?
Yeah, sorry, pal. I don't even know if it's actually the main event.
Title's not on the line.
No.
I mean, it has to be the main event. Kenny Omega's the biggest star that's scheduled for us.
No, Kenny Omega, come on, man. Like, Kenny can be put at the opening contest or it's fine. Like, just because it's at the top of the AEW on TV graphic, that don't mean it's the main event.
Should be.
Yeah.
We got one more super chat from Tenruza.
Did we?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I got all the super chats.
I scrolled up the Eddie and JBL one.
I got that one. We talked about it.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, we talked about it. We made the joke about it.
Hold on, stop!
Okay, hold on.
It's not the main event. It's not for the title.
It's definitely not for the title. Whether or not it's a main event is a whole other can of worms.
No.
Kettle of fish, if you will.
Yo, we just wrecked it.
No. I saw the graphic and I was so happy.
Yeah, it didn't have a title on it though.
It
just
did
says
not say for the international title. It did not say that.
I didn't read the fine print.
Oh my god.
I thought I just assumed the title was on the line. I was like, they're gonna do it. They're gonna put the AEW international title on the GOAT, Vanilla Baby, Blake Christian. And they did it. My dreams, it's shattered.
There it is. There it just says international champion Kenny Omega versus Blake Christian.
No.
Listen, there's still time. Listen, here's an idea.
Hold on.
Because you have some pull with AEW and its fan base, you need to start. You tried the rally for Cope. Well, instead, why don't you try the title match for Blake or the T for B? I don't care how you put it out there. Vanilla title match.
No. Why? Why would they do that?
Why is Lee Johnson in his corner? I know they teamed on the 0 Hour for Revolution, but they're not a team.
Well,
this is a mistake, right?
Well,
this is not. Hold on. This can't be real.
See, the problem is eventually, like the rally 4 is going to be hilarious, but at one point you're going to get to the rally for Kenny, and it's going to be really awkward for us.
This can't. Hold on. I'm messaging Tony Khan right now publicly.
Could you? Yeah, you should do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Hold on.
I just say, dear Tony, I believe there has been a mistake.
Dear at Tony Khan, I have just been informed. I can't type. Informed that the match between Kenny Omega and Blake Christian is not for the AEW International title. I believe this is a clerical error that has been overlooked. Can you please correct this wrong? Justice for Vanilla Baby.
Oh, this sounds like an email that Sean had to send yesterday.
Vanilla Coke Zero. Vanilla Coke Zero. We need to see that on an episode of Dynamite.
Hold on, I'm gonna use my wife's birthday as a sympathy card for this as well. Okay, hold on. P.S. It is my wife's birthday, and she has requested this be changed. Requested Blake Christian challenge for the title. Please do not ruin her birthday.
That should do it.
Please grant her. I'll be nice. Please grant her this very important birthday wish. Thanks. All right, there. All right. We've put it out to Tony Khan, and I can't believe it's not for the title. This is like telling me like Christmas is not real. Like I saw this graph. I was like, it's there. It's there. Like Blake Christian, AEW International Champion, and then it's not. That can't be true.
Sorry, buddy. We can't always get what we want. I know that AEW has been having weeks of bangers and mashes and great cards and meaty things and all this. You're just gonna have to take this one on the chin, pal.
No, I'm getting
like it's going to be a great episode.
I'm
Kessler versus Briscoe. I'm here for it.
No, this episode sucks. I'm telling everybody right now, this is going to be an awful episode. No, I will. I'm pre-burying this episode of Dynamite if Blake Christian does not challenge for the title. You think Joel hates AEW? Tune in on Thursday. I'm going to be.
We still got to get through Wednesday. Jesus.
I'm gonna hate AEW more than Joel ever has if this match does not get changed. And when this match gets changed, I will brag about how much power I have.
If it does, we will absolutely take that lap with you.
Either way, he's losing. So what are we doing here?
Let's see. Not going to lose. We're going to try our best.
He's going to lose.
No, you don't know what tomorrow can bring. That's the one thing about Vanilla Baby.
He's facing the god of pro wrestling.
It only takes one misstep, and you got a new champion on your hands. There's one thing I've learned. You can always slip on the mat and still win.
Can't beat a god.
I'm so disappointed where this show's over. Where this show might get canceled if this doesn't change.
Okay.
Oh my God.
That's how far I'm going.
No,
That's how far
I'll
I'm
have a
going.
week off. That's pretty good. SP3, anything to plug?
I'll be live in a half an hour with Romeo, who actually liked yesterday's Monday Night Raw, so that should be fun. And he loved the Jey Uso stuff. So Godspeed to me that I have to deal with that for an hour and a half or more. So yeah, check me out on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, Rated Raw Review, where we talk about Monday Night Raw. And yeah, and I'll be on live tomorrow to talk about Dark Side of the Ring over on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, since tonight is the season 6 premiere. So check it out.
We dropped an interview with Evan Husney over on the main channel. Go check that out along with some articles. Jeremy, anything to plug?
No.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what Vanilla Baby we can get up to tomorrow. Maybe it'll be Vanilla Baby Extract for Jeremy Lambert for SP3. You know who I am. You know who they are. Back tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern. We'll see you then. Leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Come on, get on it. We'll see you in the
The
next
show's getting canceled if Blake Christian does not challenge for the title.
one. Cheers.